This is not our first rodeo, believe it or not.
Believe it or not, yeah.
I don't know how. Not many people can say, yeah, we've done podcasts before. We've done podcasting.
I know.
multiple
I've never
times.
done a podcast in my life. And then the last, whatever, year and a half, 2 years, it's been podcast.
It's actually how
Why
we
is
started.
that?
That's how we started politics. I mean, we started talking
Basically.
about it on there.
Yeah, our buddies have a podcast. They like to just a little fun,
Just
mess around
conversation.
podcast. But it's cool. It's kind of high. It's a high production for what it is.
Yeah, well, they invested into it. They bought a lot of stuff. They
Yeah.
bought cameras.
Yeah.
They bought microphones. They bought,
Yeah, but you said like that's how you got involved in like politics.
No, that's where I first started talking about politics, mainstream, I would say, where I put my name, my face out there, and I actually shared my opinions and values. Because at first, when we came to this college, I mean, your experience might be a little different.
U.
But yeah, the U.
The U.
Sorry, the U, which it's not. Miami's the U. But I guess
I don't know.
here,
We're going to start a fight now.
Yeah.
We're going to start a war between Scranton and Miami.
Yeah, when you're in this area, it's the U.
yeah, I guess so.
It's you.
Duh, you.
Duh you.
Yeah.
But which is funny because I always associated with Miami. But when I first came here, I thought this is a Jesuit college. It's gonna definitely not be what traditionally you would view as a liberal arts school or a I would say more progressive faculty and staff members
Because of the Jesuits.
because of not just the Jesuits but how they showed us during the tours, all of these they put on a show. And they,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of like,
Well, of course.
yeah. This college I went to, it was a fucking show.
but these people, I fell in love with the campus, and that's really why I came here. I just loved the vibe, and that's why. And they gave me a lot of money to, off through scholarship, so that's obviously why. But when we came to visit, we were specifically going for political science, and
Wait, both you guys went to school, wanted to go to school for political science?
Yeah, we both went
Yep.
to school for political science. I'm pre-law, so I plan on going to law school.
and I don't.
And he doesn't. So that's the difference.
You're not pre-law, or you
No,
don't?
I do not plan to go to law school.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm.
the British Accreditation Registry. It's a weird.
That's
It's a weird name for an American thing.
well, yeah. I guess that's paying homage to
Yeah, I don't want to pay homage to the crown. That's just
no, we're not under the Commonwealth, but
So you went to the U thinking that like
Yeah.
it was going to be at least like middle of the road politically.
at least middle of the road, if not even a slight tilt right. And I had not met many of the professors, but I met the chair of the department, and I thought, okay,
The political science department.
Yes.
Okay.
and I thought,
And look, just before we go any forward, we're not gonna we're gonna
No.
do our best not to shit on
no, we're not.
the U or
Oh,
the
of course,
faculty,
of
but
course.
like
No, these are human beings.
It's
They
a-
have a job,
and it's okay to criticize it
Yeah,
of course,
of course,
of course,
because they
And
take government money.
Yeah.
they get paid to educate, and if they can't handle critiques or criticisms, then
Well, especially in the field of political science,
Right,
You know,
where
that's
it's all-
like the one place where it should be. You should be like able to get criticized and have a conversation, right?
Oh, of course. Open dialogue is the most important part of the political science major, I would say.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, on universities today, I mean, it's not just our university, but they really don't want open dialogue, which is a problem. And
They don't want it.
They don't. They really don't. You'll see kids get criticized or mocked or shunned for speaking a conservative value, and these are problems
In
that are
class?
serious. Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
these are serious. I've had teachers completely literally say like, I try to keep my biases out of it, but I don't know if I could hold it back anymore. Just warning you, like that. Like
that was
that's
after
crazy.
Trump won.
Yeah, that was
isn't-
after
yeah, but
Trump
isn't-
won.
yeah, but isn't that the behavior of like immature adults? Like,
Oh,
like
completely.
It's not the nature that should be of educators that hold such a vital role
So
in our future.
So you're supposed to be in college to get out of your bubble.
Yeah, and to
To,
learn.
yeah, to be
course.
like, okay, like, you know, you could grow up in a certain part of the country and decide to go to college, and then you have this like you think that this is going to be the thing that opens your eyes, and it seems to me like it's very like you are only allowed to say certain things, and you're only allowed like having a conversation about something that you disagree with is good.
It's
to
vital.
call people pejoratives and insult them because they don't agree is the response of a person who has a low EQ, which is an emotional quotients, somebody who can't handle things that, I mean, that's the truth of it, isn't it? That they can't handle the conversation.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it boils down to the fact that they don't want to have any other opinion or perspective challenge the status quo that they've spent years implementing, whether it's through, hiring educators that only share similar values, or it's down to, just basically not allowing for groups like Turning Point to be on your campus, and more, I wouldn't even want to say the term right wing. I don't want to say like leave it to a side. I don't like doing that, but anything that challenges the more progressive ideologies that they are implementing, but through, just teaching in a style that uses their bias without implicit.
What would that be? Give me examples of that.
Great. One of my teachers told me JFK never tried to pack not JFK, FDR never tried to pack the courts when he was president, which is a lie. He did intend to do so, to have a majority on the Supreme Court that would be able to help turn over a lot of the New Deal programs that were struck down by the courts for being too much of an abuse of power. So this is factual knowledge that I learned at a very young age, and I'm sitting there in a college classroom for about 15 minutes discussing if it happened or not, and I'm like, how can you say it didn't? And how can you challenge that and then teach that? And that's the key with all of this. If you believe something and you teach it, if it's wrong, people are going to learn from that and have the wrong impression.
They're going to learn the wrong thing and go forward with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important that we not just teach history right, but that we are able to have these type of conversations by showing both sides, not just showing one side and saying, this is the facts, this is how it should be. You got to have that both sides to it so that people can make their own choice. And that's the beauty of America.
Well, sometimes this is a good question. I'm going to ask Carson this.
Well,
how many sides are there on a coin?
Well, I would say there are two sides, but I guess
it's two sides.
I would guess, right?
There's not two sides to a coin?
It's three-dimensional. There's a third side.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because you have the ridge around the coin.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, because you're okay.
So you can't it's minute, but it's there. It's another side. And that's the thing where like if you can understand that, and it sounds like such a simple, stupid, like gotcha question, but it's really not. It should make you go like, okay, like even though I am hearing side A, side B, maybe there's a side that neither one is considering that might be the thing.
Yeah. And that's with political science. That's like the middle ground where you have to find where it's not partisan. It's just instead factual. And that's a lot of the times where educators, not just here, but across the board, fail to find that middle ground to be able to say, there's no partisan belief in what I'm teaching. And that's to us the key in having open dialogue and having conversations without being shunned out.
It is genuinely misleading. Like a lot of the like stuff they'll say is blatantly obvious.
Like what's genuinely misleading?
So a teacher who leans a little bit more liberal will come to class and be saying, a liberal view heavily, and then if somebody says something that's pretty backed up a conservative, they'll completely shun that. They don't want to hear about it. But one specific instance we had before President Trump was even, charged with anything, when they were first like getting all that, the court cases, seeing what they were going to charge him with. We had our textbooks were already printed out saying that he was guilty.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm not even joking.
What?
The first page on our textbook was a map showing how many votes Biden beat Trump by. And then the first chapter of it, when you flipped it over, was talking about Trump and all the charges against him and like all this stuff. And it's like, this is something that's
and
ongoing.
How he's going to be a felon.
Yeah,
much.
this is ongoing. You can't say this. He didn't even get found guilty yet.
Wait,
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's completely for the indoctrination of the youth mind. And one thing I want to circle back to is one thing with them not allowing open dialogue. It's the biggest disservice, honestly, to education, because there are some things I'm sure we could agree you can't learn in a book. And I know, for one, I learned mostly by my personal experiences. Not allowing the social aspect and going to be able to have a civil dialogue and talk and debate, you're missing out on so many crucial social factors, crucial educational factors, and you can learn so much by just having a simple conversation. And so it really is a big disservice, and I hope that something about that changes soon, because for the amount of money that these kids are paying, they're missing a huge part of their education. That is, I would say, is a fundamental part and reason why people go to college, the social aspect.
Yeah.
I didn't know I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but now I'm really curious.
Oh, yeah.
Ask away.
This is why we got into it.
So you get a book.
Yep.
An approved curriculum.
You are required to get, by the way. I have to
that you have to pay for.
You have to pay for it.
Right.
You have to pay, not, you have all the expenses of college, and there's actually some money put aside, when you look at the bill for books and stuff, and it's still not covered. You still have to go out and pay for your own money, which I think is part of the broken
Sometimes
system.
those books are like $150 and shit.
More than that. I
really?
Yeah. More,
I had a friend.
You want to spend $200 to learn how to get lied to?
That's not even, I had a friend who, I mean, granted, it was a math book, so I guess it was better, but.
Well, math is racist, so keep going.
Well, they had to do problems in it for homework every night, and that book was, I think he said $600, and you had to buy it. It was
$600.
Yeah. And the part
depends
that's
on the major.
The part that's a joke about the political science ones are they'll charge you $200, you buy it, and then you get to chapter 5, and your teacher will be like, I wrote this section, and you're like, oh, well, nice. I just gave you commission for the book, I guess.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
All right, guys, hold on. My brain. Okay. Very, very few times do I'm like, all right, fucking pause.
All right,
so you're telling me that you have an experience at college where you paid a lot of money for a book, and then you get to a certain chapter and the professor goes, I wrote this chapter.
Oh, of course, it happens. Like I had a teacher that it was completely just her book. I believe we got that one for free, and I think she was open about it. So I'm okay with that. Like that's completely fine. But there's been times where like I've gotten a book for a class and they don't give you any warning, and then you're reading it and they'll be like, oh, I edited this chapter, or I wrote this chapter. Or
I'm connected with the person like who does this, and we write books together, and I might not have wrote this part, but me and this author write books together that you can go out and you can look at, and then they'll get you and they'll say, well, you can buy this book that delves into this topic if that interests you.
Or they'll recommend like, this is a good resource if you want it.
Yeah, and you're a young kid, so like why won't you be like, oh, the professor recommended this?
A lot of people are impressionable.
Okay. That's a good point. A lot of people are impressionable.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know what they don't know, and they trust people that they shouldn't trust into believing things that they shouldn't believe. And I don't care. Like, I would be against this if it was a hardcore conservative college too.
Right. Doesn't matter. It's universal. You can't have if only this side does it. You have to say both sides. Or all sides.
Well, isn't that the point? Yeah, but isn't that the point of all that, is to be like, okay, I'm going to hear like, if somebody goes, this is the best way to make a birthday cake, and then another person says, well, this is a different way to make a birthday cake, like, isn't it up to the person who's watching that to go like, either this is the best way or that's the best way, or a combination of these two things would be the best way for me?
Yeah, maybe I like something here on this argument. Maybe I like the healthcare argument on this side.
Yeah.
Or I like the economics argument on this side, and you pull things. But if you're not shown the other side, you just automatically believe that one side is right and the other side is wrong, and that there are two sides, right? And back to the point that the three sides to the coin.
Yeah.
But they make you believe there's only two sides, and if you're not on their side, you're against them, and the other side is 100% wrong. Both sides do it.
That's the problem, I think, overall. That's even a societal thing, right? Because I'm a hardcore believer in that we've created such a division that there's now teams. We're on everything, not even just politics. Right? Yeah. You have to either be A or B. You can't be in the middle. If there's a war going on, you have to be team.
Pro-Ukraine, or they're stealing our money. That's it. That's the only two positions to be in.
Sure, and I think that there's the most of the time it's a gray area.
Right.
That's really the right solution or the right, option. But I think it's gotten to the point where you have to be either Republican or Democrat or for this team or that team. It's even gotten to the point. I had a friend of mine ask me why I wasn't in the Republican club at the university that I go to. And
Oh, why aren't you at this rally? Why aren't you at this BLM march? Keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I said, in my opinion, it's so there's such a division. You have to be so one-sided anymore that the second that I join something like a Republican club, everyone's going to immediately believe that, I'm hardcore Trumpy, like doing every single order he does. I'm
say
in
it
love
how
with.
it is. You're a Nazi.
Yeah, whatever. But
Is this where I sign up to get my boots? Is this where I go?
This
Okay.
is how they think. Yeah.
right, literally. But the truth that matters, there's some things that I disagree with, or I think a little bit differently. And I think that the second that you say you're hardcore attached to one team or the other, that there's no option for, being able to find middle ground. And that's the problem with today. I would say it's way too much of teams.
So just like, I'm trying to understand the environment at the U.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like if okay, so like there are, I'm with you. There are things that, like, let's say Trump does that I agree with, and there are things that he does that I don't agree with.
And that's healthy. That's
but also at the same time, I felt that about Biden.
Right.
I'm like,
right,
sometimes like a broke clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean?
right.
Like sometimes you get things right.
Yeah.
Is there no, like, do they, in your experiences, do they, if you say the thing, if you try to like counter an idea with maybe something that like Trump is for that you agree with, is just by his connection to it, do they dismiss it?
One way they do dismiss it, sometimes they'll try to be sneaky about it. Other times they'll just, say a different fact that'll make them look bad. They're very dismissive of anything really that's pro-Trump, pro-conservative. This one I find funny. One of my teachers, we do current events every single day, and very, very smart person.
Yeah.
Very smart person. And I know they know, politics. And they always know all the facts of everything and yada, yada, yada when it's, the liberal side. But when you say something like Trump did something good, it's immediate. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Did anyone else hear about that?
No, that's not how she.
She does that.
I don't want to give too much.
I don't want to give away.
You see me.
Yeah, but
shaking.
so expound upon that.
So you see me shaking my head. I've had this professor multiple times because I do think that the style in which she holds her classroom is the best out of the department. You're able to talk about current events like you're talking about, and then the substance of what the class is about. But man, it's like talking to someone that just you're just putting in time and energy into nothing. It's very strongly opinionated. You bring up Trump, it's automatically wrong. I've personally and
like they're not even open to the idea.
No, I've asked in both, in the classroom and in private, is there anything you can say that you agree with Donald Trump and what he's done? And I've gave her, many chance, never one thing. I said after the most recent thing, I said back in November, I said, well,
not like getting mercury out of vaccines. That's not a good thing.
According to her, no.
Not making sure that our food isn't poison is not a good. That's not something we can all go like, oh, this is good.
No, and these are things that everyone should be like, yeah, I'm glad that someone's taking care of this. I'm glad someone's addressing this serious problem, which is obvious to the naked eye that you can see obesity rates going up. You can see unhealthy. Trends.
It's what the biggest line item in our budget is health.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that they spend. It's funny. I just heard
like they won't even admit that like, oh, not harming kids is a good thing.
That's another thing. This is Jesuit college, so a lot of the professors are either Catholics or Christians or Jesuits themselves, but very strongly believe in their faith, and yet they believe in sometimes just the most irrational ideas and radical ideas out there, including sex operations for minors.
chemically castrating and
hormone blockers and
cutting
all
up
these
children
because they believe that if that child wants that's what they want, and that's a big problem I think ideologically that people have is like we've gone that far where we're perfectly okay with mutilating genitalia for
like do you
children.
think if what would Jesus do, like if he was here today he'd be like, oh, let me grab the scalpel
Yeah, let me just snap my fingers and you're going to turn from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy like that. Like, this is not something that should even be an 80-20 issue. I say it's more like a 90-10 issue. It's really just allowed 10%. And that brings us back to college campuses. I would argue the University of Scranton's students are more 60-40, lean left.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to just ask anyone, it's like, oh, no, it's definitely all Democrats or all liberals because they're outspoken.
Right.
Their groups are put in the bulletin boards in the main building, the Naples Center. The bulletins for all these groups are put up right there so everyone can see. You never see any Republican club, stuff up there. You never see anything to do with Christians or Catholics, really. Jesuit college, and this is the reality.
Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah, it's not weird.
It's crazy.
I think it's strategic, and I don't know if it's strategic like institutionally, but just when it comes to college campuses, monolithically, they are all going towards down this path of just going farther left in both their curriculum and just the way that they hold events and run their college campuses. And at the same time, their prices are going higher and higher. This is
so wait.
I know it's a lot for you to take in.
Well, one of our board members goes to a different school, right? So this will show you it's not just our school.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you know that, but one of our other
Never
board
assume
members,
what I know.
one of our other board members, he has a chapter at one of the local schools, and
A Turning Point chapter.
yes, he has a Turning Point chapter at one of the local schools, and he was telling us that he will put up posters for one of his events, and they'll get ripped down, and he's like, I'm pretty confident. He's like, I don't think it's just students. He's like, I think it's faculty that's ripping them down too.
Adults.
Yeah,
He thinks so. I won't. Yeah. I don't
don't
want to
know.
confirm that on.
I don't want to confirm it, but
I've seen
I want to doubt
We've seen videos.
I've seen videos of it
Right,
happening.
Right. We've seen videos in Pennsylvania of it happening. I saw a video within the last 6 months of somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think at Penn State, of Turning Point posters being ripped down by a student, not by faculty, but by a student.
I've seen
So it's
faculty do it.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that too. I just didn't see it in Pennsylvania, but I've seen this, and the fact that we've seen it, you can definitely come to the conclusion if someone walked by, like no one's around, you can just rip down a poster and that's it. So it's not like it's a long
Right.
challenge.
He can't even have events anymore where he like offers food and lets anyone come in, because he would have.
Is this
trays of
a
pizza.
college near here?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, very near.
Yeah.
But he would offer trays of pizza. You could come take a slice, sit down, enjoy, and it was just an open dialogue.
And it wasn't like for conservatives only.
No, anyone could
it's
show up
Turning
and
Point.
talk. It's Turning Point. Anyone could show up and talk. He welcomes everyone, and you didn't even have to scan your ID. Now you have to, because kids were coming in and just taking the pizza boxes and just leaving. Then
Yeah. I mean, that's a great thing you just asked. You said conservatives and Turning Point. There's a big distinction between our Turning Point chapters on college campuses and then the group that we have our memorabilia that we're wearing today. The college
Your swag.
Yeah, our swag. Yeah.
Memorabilia.
Memorabilia. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to market here, but
Yeah. Thanks for coming to the Statue of Liberty. Go home with this
Merchandise.
cup.
yeah, Statue of Liberty memorabilia.
Yes, I hear you.
$55.
Is it really? Well, it's cheaper than a book.
It's all going to Mom Donnie's re-election campaign.
Yeah. We need money.
Yep. Not to get off topic, but I'm just saying he's my mayor, so I'm gonna say this. He asked for money the day after he won
Oh, I know.
for his transition. That should
Of
say.
course.
Yeah,
should
now
say
he just
everything.
did another thing
He's
where they have
doing
to, and I think
Yeah.
Eric Adams said it a couple years ago. He's like, if we keep paying for this illegal immigration, we're going to have this amount of money as a whole in our budget, and that's what Mom Donnie's like.
Yep.
I think it was like 2 days ago. He's like, well, we're going to have to raise taxes and everything because we have this
Yep.
shortfall in our budget. And it's
Oh
like,
my
well,
God. It's
Yeah.
almost like he campaigns on doing
yeah.
that.
I don't need a mirror ball to listen to the former mayor saying, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't need to be Nostradamus. Like, this is the thing that concerns me, and this is what I'm seeing, is that, you know, just like you were saying before about the teacher, and you say something that, like, you know, Trump did or whatever, and they go, oh, I didn't hear that I don't know about that. And it's like, well, why don't you know about that? Like,
Right,
shouldn't you
right.
think that, like, if you care about policy A and somebody says, and you know, CNN says, I'll give you a perfect example. A week or two ago, I'm at a restaurant, right? Now, we love this restaurant, me and my wife, and Albanians own it. Now, if you don't know anything about Albania, it's north of Greece, and in the late 90s, they had a lot of problems up there with, like, you know, Kosovo and Slobodan Milosevic and ethnic cleansing and all this crazy shit. But, like, the country has a very rich, storied history and pride. Like, these people have a lot of pride. And, you know, like 6-7 months ago, I was talking to them about, like, the crazy shit that I know. And I could see in their faces, like, when I was talking to them, like, these are the people who own the restaurant, who are immigrants from Albania. And I could see in their faces that, like, they were starting to get, like, this, their eyes started to, like, go like, oh no, if this is true, I'm terrified. And so I stopped talking about it because I don't want to make people feel terrible, you know? And it was the day that Trump was at NATO and the Greenland deal happened. And we go to dinner there. I don't think anything of Greenland. Like, nobody really thinks about Greenland. So we go in there and she goes, the lady that owns it goes, well, I guess Trump didn't get Greenland. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, we just watched it on the news. He didn't get Greenland. So they have, like, the news on and they watch, like, the closed captioning. And she goes, well, they just said that he didn't, that it's over and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hold on. I'm pulling it up. I'm like, this is from the White House. This is from this. Yeah. This is from that.
The official White House.
Yeah, I said they didn't, like, get Greenland. Nobody wants center Greenland. It's all ice. Like, you want the stuff on the sides, and you want to be able to protect.
Defense. Yes. Yeah. And that's why he did that.
And her whole, you could see, like, in her head, she was like, but what do you mean? Like, the news just lied to me.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and I looked at her and I'm like, you still believe the fucking news? And she goes, but aren't they allowed not to lie? I said, no. And she would, like, she was really upset about the fact that, like, she was lied to about Greenland.
Yeah.
And, like, so there's a lot of people, like, I talk to, and then I've listened to a lot of interviews and stuff. And there was this guy that I heard getting interviewed, and he's an independent journalist, travels all over the country. Middle of the road, probably more conservative. And everybody knows what red pill is, right?
Yep.
Okay. So somebody was asking him about, like, because they wanted to understand people's red pill moments. Like, because we all think that there's, like, some sort of psychosis going on that, like, people just can't objectively see truth. And somebody asked him, what is the most common red pill moment? And he goes, I've traveled the country. I've talked to thousands of people. Not one person has the same red pill moment.
Yep.
Not one person has the same moment where it was like, Building 7. They're not all doing it. Yeah. It's different for everybody. Some people, it's like, what do you mean there's glyphosate in the wheat?
Nope.
Some people, it was COVID, but it wasn't COVID. It was things that happened during COVID.
It was the fact that we were put in lockdown, and then
I mean, that's one thing. Like, so for some people, it was like, I walk into a restaurant and then under 6 feet, COVID doesn't exist. That was their red pill moment.
I feel like there's a lot of compounding factors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's maybe a snowballing of collected, you know, events and moments, if you will.
I mean, the latest.
Oh, by the way, you guys can talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Like, if you want to say the craziest shit, you can say what was perceived as the craziest shit. Just, like, try to back it up.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking back to my red pill moment.
Because if we can't talk openly, what's the point of this?
And that we want to get into that, and that I was kind of got off track. I wanted to clarify the difference between the conservatives. And
I distracted you. I'm sorry.
No. I distracted myself when I brought up Mamdani.
Shiny thing.
My Mamdani apparently is the shiny thing, which it's shiny thing to shit on for me. But the red pill moment I can think of is back when Obama, right at the end of Obama's term, and he's trying to push in Merrick Garland for
the Supreme Court.
And everybody knows, historically.
How old are you when this is happening?
When that's happening, it's like 2015, 2016, really. But I'm 11, 12.
You were paying attention to this when you were 12?
I was paying attention from a very early
I guess
age.
I was too.
I think I've told you. I've wanted to be, in politics since the age of 5. When they were asking, what do you want to be when you go around the room? I said, I want to be the president. I want to be in politics.
Yeah.
So yeah, from an early age, I was watching Fox News, and I think it was still Britt Hume who did Special Report, and maybe Brett Barrett just taking it over, but they were talking about this, and it hit me. I'm like, they're laying out the history of every single president that has a Supreme Court open and he's about to leave office, and they just leave it for the next president. It's like, a common thing. And Obama's trying to just get Merrick Garland,
trying to ram him through,
who by far was probably one of the worst, if not the worst, nominee for SCOTUS of all time. Maybe behind the one that they got
Ketanji
through.
Brown Jackson.
I was just about to say KBJ.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure she's a lovely person, but I don't
she's
think
a lovely person as well. And I'm sure that she would be a fun person to hang out with. But
like, I like you very much, but you're not performing any surgeries on me.
No, right?
Because it's just not your. It's not your lane.
No, that's okay, and that we can still have that distinction.
Well, when she couldn't answer what is a woman, I was like, all right.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. Keep going about Merrick Garland.
But Merrick Garland, that was my red pill moment, was when Mitch McConnell was ferocious about fighting that and saying, no, you got to leave it for the president. You might win. And this is Donald Trump's just getting the nominee. He's just building the appeal. And
so this is like 2015, you said?
This is late 2015, early 2016,
yeah.
Right? I think it's actually, no, it's early 2016. It's not even late 2015 because...
No, he took office in 2016.
Because it was Antonin Scalia's seat, and he died in February of 16.
Are you sure? Because wasn't Trump...
Yeah.
Trump was in office in 2016.
No. He came into office January of 17. He won in 2016.
Are you sure?
Yes. Obama went from 08 or 09 to 17. It's January of those years.
I thought he went to 16. Keep going. I'm going to look this up because I don't believe this.
Okay, you can look it up. But I'm pretty sure it's Scalia's seat in 2016. He passed away in February. And they're just
That's not suspicious either.
That is a whole rabbit hole that you could go down, is anything to do with Antonin Scalia. But going back to Merrick Garland is having his nomination hearing, and I remember watching it and just saying,
son of a bitch, you're right.
I knew I was.
January 2017.
Yeah. Because that's how the
I had a brain fart. Keep going.
But Merrick Garland was just speaking, and he wouldn't answer any tough questions. So of course, when you have these hearings, and whether it's for Supreme Court or whether it's just the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, coming down to foreign relations a few days ago, it doesn't matter. The hardest questions are from the opposition. So you have to be prepared for them. Merrick Garland gets the softball questions from the libs out of the way, and then they start pressing him on guns, on abortion. They start pressing him on these key issues.
The Republicans do. And Ted Cruz is doing this, and Mitch McConnell, and they're just grilling him. And he has no answer. It's all just like communist gobbledygook and word salad.
It's word salad.
Yeah.
Kamala probably perfected it from him. But and that to me was like, I'm 12 years old. I'm getting into it. My dad's starting to explain the economics part of it, where he's like, well, here, you did some work outside today. Here's 15. But since you live here, I'm going to tax you $5. And since I buy your food, I'm going to tax you another $5. And since you use my water and my heat, I'm going to tax you another
$3 and then you get $2.
I'm left with like $2, and that's the whole point of this, and that was like the lesson I'm starting to learn, from an early age, and then carrying that on to when I'm starting to formulate my own opinions. And again, I'm 12 years old. I should not be sitting there watching nomination hearings, and yet I was, just because I found it interesting. I always have. So that's
it's high drama.
Right.
It's entertainment.
Oh, of course.
That Secretary of State, Rubio's hearing 2 days ago.
It was awesome.
Senate Foreign Relations Committee was so awesome.
Well, didn't he get the vote was 100-0 for him to be Secretary of State?
Pretty much. He was a senator, so of course.
But he knows how to deal with them.
Yes, and
he's not dumb.
No. Chris Coons was asking him some tough question. I wouldn't say tough question, just anger behind and motivated by anger.
Well, it's performative.
Of course it is. And he has to look good for his constituents and look like he's putting up a fight. And, his
donors.
Right. And the donors too. Yeah. I'm trying to be nice and say the constituents, because I believe that Democrat politicians
most of them don't pay attention to their constituents.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I think that's both sides a lot of the time.
I agree. I totally agree.
I do. I think that's why you have to have the right candidates, though.
What was your moment? Were you 12 watching Merrick Garland?
No,
I can't say I was 12 watching that, but
I thought he was going to say I can't say I was 12.
No, I can't say I was watching that while I was 12. But I didn't really have, I would say, a red pill moment. I grew up in a Christian household where we went to church every single weekend, and
I respect that. I'm going to keep cursing.
No, that's fine. That's completely
Me
fine.
too, don't worry.
However, I was always raised with the right moral compass, I believe, and I was always taught what's right and what's wrong, and most importantly, what's common sense and what isn't. And I feel like I've always had a good logical, thought process, but my parents were never too pushy about what I had to be. And when I got into it, I did my own research. I'm the type of person that will put on, on 4 different screens, 4 different media outlets, and watch the same event at the same time. And I really got to say, and I'm kind of proud to say it, but I kind of just built it. There wasn't like one moment. I kind of just started from the ground and worked my way up, and mostly leaned towards conservative, I guess.
What do you think you can attest? How old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20. You're 21.
Yep, about to turn 22.
Yeah, my wife thought you were 40.
Yeah, it's true. It's a true fact.
What do you attest that to? Like, what was your family life like?
Well,
and you don't have to get in like particulars.
Sure. My father's a very smart person. He's a very good businessman. He always taught me the value of working for what you get. And my mother was always a very, straight arrow. So was my father. They were always on the right side of everything. They never wanted to do anything controversial or step out of line or do anything illegal. Of course, they always taught me that, the honest way is always the best way. And I really had a great family life growing up, but we were also very charitable. And through it, I learned some tough lessons about how charity could be taken, abused. And I think those values, they just instilled really good values on me, taught me, I guess you would say conservative things, but to me, they weren't really conservative things.
They were just the right thing.
They were just the right thing. And I mean, my mom is the type of person who she won't jaywalk. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of people.
No, sorry, honey. A quarter mile down is the crosswalk.
Right. And of course,
there's no cars. We can go right now.
And the house is like in the middle of the street. So we're going to go like this. Nope. Doesn't matter.
Right. Of course. But I mean, so they were always, just, I think they instilled the right values in me. And that's really what I attributed.
Did you have siblings?
I do. I have an older sister and an older brother, and they're the same as me. We all ended up the same exact way.
What's the difference in ages?
So my brother is a year older than me.
My age.
My sister is in her late 20s.
Oh, so they had the sister and then took a little bit of time and
yeah. It took
and
a little bit.
And then they
of
had
time.
like Irish twins.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Irish twins. That's a new one.
It's
it's
when
apart?
I think it's like 18 months or something. Or 14 months, something like that.
No, 18, isn't it?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But it's like, they always tell you after you have your baby, you got to wait like 6 months before you try again. And then, the Irish were like, nah, I'm not going to wait for that. I just want to see I just want to see how many more people we can get to work the yard.
Let's go.
So was your family life kind of like that? And I ask because I'm curious about like, there is something to be said about like how you're raised.
Oh, of course.
I think that, and this is something like I'm starting to, if you look at the madness of today, because I think a lot of it is madness, it really matters like your origin story. And your origin story, you could like, when you look at conservatism and you look at liberalism, it seems like there's a lot more broken people in liberalism.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with like their upbringing, which is why I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for people like that. Cause it's like, man, you didn't I feel terrible. Like you never had a choice, but you also had the opportunity to change your stars.
Could I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Before?
This is a conversation.
Yeah.
Man.
I just don't want to.
We don't have commercial breaks.
We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
One thing that I do think was very important. One thing I do think was very important was my family was always really close. And I'm not just talking about my parents and my siblings, but my cousins, my grandparents, they were all really close. So we grew up with a tight family. And
did everybody kind of like look out for each other?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we were also willing to hold each other accountable for things.
That's important.
It's very important. And the thing about it is when I try to compare things, the two sides, I look at my family who was really tight and I say, okay, well, if my family was really tight knit, and I'm conservative, and in theory, let's say liberal is the opposite, then that would mean a liberal family wouldn't be tight and would be apart in a way.
Yeah, no, and I think there's a lot of evidence.
Of course,
there's a big fact pattern pointing to that.
I think a problem with modern society is that, one, you don't have the traditional family anymore. So you have loss of the father in the household, which it creates so
it seems encouraged.
It does seem encouraged. It seems very encouraged. And of course, I think that the reason it's encouraged is because it's the fastest way to get people on, of course, government subsidies and government programs.
Dependence.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, for instance, sometimes in some scenarios, you get more federal aid if you have a single parent in the household. So
so you're incentivized to not have
a father and a mother, which is very bad.
Yes,
to say the least. Also, though, on top of that, I've noticed younger parents. I've never had a kid. I'm young. Yeah, I'm young.
Make sure you get married before you do that.
Of course.
Jesus watches you.
Right, of course. Didn't start a family of my own yet. But I'm young, and I look at these parents who are a lot older than me, and they do not raise their kids how they should. The kids are rambunctious. They're doing bad things. They won't punish them for what they're doing. They let them run around, and it's a problem with our schools. I went to high school. The kids totally disrespected the teachers, and that's bred from home. And that type of pushback is toxic in a way, and that's a huge problem with society. And even too, I was actually at the mall the other day, and a mother was pushing a stroller, and she had a son that was about maybe, I couldn't even, like 8 at most, and she looks at the son, right? And she goes, "Here, watch the baby, newborn baby in the stroller. Watch the baby. I'm going outside to smoke a cigarette."
Oh my God.
Can you believe that? I look at my friend, I go, if I was some weirdo.
Switch to a vape.
Right.
Yeah, right at that point.
Right. I was like, if I was some weirdo, these kids would be gone. Like, seriously, that is horrible parenting. And that's what I see across the board now. I feel like that's the majority. Your parents are just not doing their job anymore.
I got really concerned when I started to notice parents treating their kids as like an accessory or like a small dog.
Bargaining chip.
Well, you know what it is? It's like I don't know what I like. Look, man, I used to be pro-choice. I used to be all these things. And when I started looking at, like, COVID gave me a lot of time to reflect on like what these things are. And like, you guys are, compared to me, you guys are way ahead on the timeline of realizing shit. Like, I realized it probably like in the 90s, like 9/11 happened. And then I went to Florida to go to film school. And not a lot of conservatism down there.
Not at that time.
And it was actually like, I had a "fuck Bush" poster in my apartment. So there's something about like the environment. It's a toxic environment, especially like the arts. And the arts were supposed to be the thing that like held people to account, not be bullies. It was always like, art is supposed to be the thing that is supposed to shine the mirror on whatever is going on, so that like, it's not given to you like in a news thing. It could be an image. It could be a painting. It could be a song. It could be a movie. It could be all these things that can help people who would otherwise not see that start to like walk a mile in somebody else's shoes and get a little perspective. That's gone now. Like the whole idea of like compelling art to make you to motivate critical thinking, to be like, you know, oh, was Che Guevara a piece of shit? Well, I see all these T-shirts. Who was he?
As someone who is in that environment, do you think that it maybe has something to do with
I love that you guys are asking questions. This is great.
I'm curious. Do you think it has something to do with the emotion behind art that could sometimes be used as a vessel to create art, and maybe that emotional connection has implications when it comes to politics? Because I feel like liberals kind of tend to trip up on the emotional appeal a lot. So there's some connection there. So
I think, look, emotion is the strong, like the two strongest emotions you can have is love and hate, right? And the only way why do you think they're always in conflict? Why do you think that they're using those things to use against you? Art to me used to be neither side. Don't pick a side. Like if you can't question the person who's like your leader, you're in a cult. So the good thing about America is you get to shine the light on something that, you know, whether the media or whoever told you it was supposed to be, you can contradict that. And you can compel people to use their brains, which is what we should be doing. In my experience, most of the artists that I know and I knew in that world had some sort of trauma that was unresolved, including me.
Sure. Okay.
And, you know, I'll tell you guys this because everyone already knows it, but I'm a huge advocate for the use of psychedelics for mental health. It changed my life in a good way. And what it did was it taught me to be grateful. It taught me to give people grace, to help people understand. And it also made me not an atheist, which is the most unexpected thing that happened from, you know, my participation of these.
Wow.
Were you previously atheist, and that's why you're saying that?
I would call myself an agnostic because I was like, just in case. You know what I mean?
I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior.
As long as he's real. But like, so when I was like, I went on this journey to like, cause I was tired. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, you know, I was in therapy for 15 years. I did all that shit. And speaking of therapy, I want you to find me one person who were like, yeah, man, I went to therapy, totally cured me. You've never heard that in your life.
Nope.
But so in my journey of that, I listened to this. I was going down the rabbit hole of like science and studies and you know, clinical use and because I was like, this substance that I was told was, you know, it makes you jump off buildings and shit like that. Like, I better make sure that I'm not going to jump off a building. And what I found was striking, that the effects of it for people is unbelievable. And, you know, setting and intention are important. But I listened to this woman. There was this podcast I was listening to during COVID. It was called London Real. The guy who runs it, his name's like Brian. He ran for like mayor of London. He's an American guy. He graduated MIT and started up this podcast where he just has conversations with people you're not supposed to have conversations with, like David Icke or this person that I was listening to. So she was a therapist, psychiatrist who worked for the NHS, which is the National Health Service,
Yep.
which is the British public health system. And she started to realize that she wasn't having any efficacy to help her patients. So she quit. And she got hooked up with like this private company who was doing therapy and psychedelics together. And the way she described it is that like everybody's life is trauma, you know, the thing that like defines you, right? So she goes like the moment of being born is traumatic because you're literally exploding out of a human being. Like any other instance where that happens, like if you just exploded out of somebody right now, I would say that's traumatic.
Yeah.
But she goes, if your mother goes to the store and you're an infant, you don't know what a store is. So you think it's abandonment. That's a trauma. When your dad says something to you when you're 8 years old, that was totally innocuous, that what your dad said, but you're now in your 40s taking it to heart that was serious. That's a trauma. And she goes, the thing about what the difference between people who like take psychedelics and don't take psychedelics, and because they're looking for help, because you two seem like guys who figured this out. What the next thing I'm going to say. She goes, many people have something traumatic happen to them, and they have two paths. The one path is, how does this define me? And the other path is, what did I learn from this? And she goes, victims think, how does this define me? Because it becomes their identity.
Right. So
something terrible happens.
And
like, let's say, you know, it's, I don't want to go as far as like the terrible things, but like an assault or
they hit an ICE agent, and now because of it, they were thrown in jail, and now they don't like ICE.
No, it's not even that. It's like you have to think about it in like these innocuous, like these terms where it's like, because I never liked comparing trauma. I never liked going like, well, you know, my parents beat the shit out of me and yours just took away your allowance. Like, the worst day of your life is the worst day of your life. The day your hamster dies is the worst day of your life. The day your grandmother dies is the worst day of your life. The hamster takes a back seat. The day a parent passes away, that's the worst day of your life, and the grandma and the hamster take a back seat. So it's all how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And because you were able to say during the hamster moment, which is really reductive for this conversation, but you could say, oh my God, my hamster passed away. It happened to me. I'm going to carry this with me for the rest of my life, and it'll define everything that I do. Or are you grateful that you had the opportunity to be with that hamster? And the same thing goes for like the grandmother or the dog or your parents. Like there are people, like when things like that happen, you just see them self-destruct. And that was the difference for me, where it's like if something terrible happens, this is why I'm so like aloof about shit.
I think that's so great, though. I think that makes us human. It's the
pain.
Yes.
It makes us stronger.
Not just the pain, but how we react to it. Because the example you used, the grandparents. When you lose a grandparent, like for me, when I lost my grandfather recently, on the day Trump got inaugurated, my grandfather passed away in the morning.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all right. It's the worst day of my life. And at the same time, as a very proud Trump supporter, I had a great time listening to him speak at the inauguration. But yeah, it's the worst day of your life. That will take a backseat when something down the line happens, whether I lose a parent or even worse. But those are the things that you look and you say, okay, how do I carry on a legacy? How do I move past this? But then it's like, okay, what did I learn? What do I do? What are the lessons that
this is going to happen again.
Of course. And the best thing is if you
how am I prepared for it?
Right. You apply the methods and the ways about in the way you go about things. And you say, okay, I've had this happen now. I know I have to get these affairs in order. I know that, I have to put on a brave face because there's a lot of people that are looking to me now to have a brave face. And I'm saying, and that's the example with the grandparents.
I don't think you have to. Like, I don't think that. Like,
I think you do as a.
I don't think you need to have the brave face.
I don't know.
I think if you can objectively look at it in that way, and like you brought this up about emotion and art, like when you're emotional, and it's not to say that you don't love whatever terrible thing that happened. That's not what I'm saying. It's right. Like if you come at it from a place of gratitude. In other words,
yes.
Like I'm so because it's a perspective shift.
But it's
not
time.
A negative; it's a positive.
It takes time to get to the gratitude.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the question: did it happen to you or for you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or is this something you're going to build from?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Expound upon that.
Well, did it happen to you? Like, is this something that's horrible that happened to you? It's a tragedy that only would happen to you and not anyone else, or did it happen for you? Is it something that you're going to get stronger by? Is it something you're going to learn from?
I think that's what I was saying. The same. I think it's the same
what I'm saying.
thing.
It's the same idea. If it's happening to you, you're not gaining anything from it, and it's just all negative. Oh, woe is me. But if it's happening for you, then yeah, it might be negative. But you could look and well, maybe it was for this reason. Maybe I learned something. Maybe I took something.
And that's how you look at it. And
see, okay. So here's the other caveat to that is. And this was like the craziest thing to me, is that in that example, if you don't have faith in some sort of higher power, none of it matters.
Exactly. So in that case, that doesn't mean like it would happen to you.
Right.
You would see it as
this is a lesson.
To you. Right.
Yeah. Something is trying to teach me something. Something is trying to make me a stronger person by having to run through fire.
That'd be for you. It's happening for you, and then happening to you.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because that's kind of very similar to what happened with me when I lost my first grandfather a few years ago, before COVID. At that time, I didn't have a very strong faith, but also didn't have a strong opinion on Christianity, on religion. I just thought it'd be nice, but I was more of like, scientifically, I don't think it's possible, that type of, I would say, agnostic. And when my grandfather passed, or the first one back a few years ago, I thought, why did God do this to me? Why did God give him cancer? Why my grandfather? Why me and now flip
to
it.
You.
Right.
To
now
you.
Flip it.
Right.
So when I lost my other grandfather, I thought instead of why did this happen to me? okay, how do we move past this? Like, what does the family do next? It goes from why to what's next.
Right.
And that's when you see the difference in that. You know you've grown and you've learned from that lesson. And there's still lessons you can take away. But seeing that growth of taking it away from like the individual, like this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me, and not just this happens to people, because everybody loses people, in terrible ways. Some people get, terrible death. Some people just have sleeping and go in your sleep.
My parents would always say to me, like, we want you to have a better life than we had. But I think that had to do with like trauma too.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to kind of hide all of us. Like, and that, I think that was my whole generation of parents. They were trying to protect kids from the terribleness of the world instead of saying like, this shit happens.
Yeah.
Like, get ready for it. Here's what you can do.
Can I jump in? You asked
him. Not jumping in anywhere.
You asked him earlier about his backstory and family life, and I wanted to touch up, and you brought that back up. My parents got together in the 90s. They were working under my grandfather at the time. Walsh. He was on Wall Street, and it was. I'm not sure if it was insurance. I think it was just regular stock, stock company, but it inevitably got bought by TD Bank in the late 90s. And anyway, they met through there, normal way. My mom, born overseas in Italy, her family doesn't speak a lick of English. My dad's been here; he's third generation. They both were kind of similar to you. My mom especially was Clinton-era Democrat, because they were much more about social freedoms and social liberties. They believed,
I thought once the gays got the vote and marriage, it was all over. I thought we could all come together as a country. Like, I remember when Obama passed that, or they passed whatever the hell it was. I was like, okay, like, now we're done. There's no more oppression.
There's always greener grass, though.
Yeah, well, then what happened after, and not interrupt you, but like, what happened after that was we got more divided, which I never thought was going to happen.
Well, because when you get one thing, it's like, okay, you reach that goal. What's the next one? What else could we? And
Let's
that's what I'm saying. There's always.
I thought we were going to focus on like actual progress,
like healthcare, like the healthcare reforms that.
I just thought like, well, I never really paid attention to it because it really never bothered me. Like, you only pay attention to the things that are in your orbit. The things that like directly affect you.
Directly affect you. Yeah.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you about
no, not at all.
I just wanted to bring up the gays. Who were awesome in the 90s. I loved the gays in the 90s.
One of my mom's best friends is
and now they're
what
just,
you would consider a 90s gay.
Now they're just super mean. They're just super mean.
But they grew up, both of them, coming from two different families in two different ways. My mom grew up dirt poor, pretty much, Italian immigrants.
Well, immigrant, yeah.
Yeah. My dad grew up very low middle class, if not the top end of the low income class, I would say.
Upper lower class,
lower middle class. And that same applied when they got married, and pretty much my whole childhood was on that cusp of like, we don't need food stamps, but like, we barely make enough to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And it's like
almost paycheck to paycheck.
Yes, but it's really hard to grow up with the idea. It's actually, I should phrase it this way. It's really hard to be a parent with the idea of, I want to give my kids something better, but if we do, we're taking financial liberties on, all the things that we have to pay for. And
do you think it's monetary?
For a lot of people, yes, and especially for how we grew up, yes, because we lived like not paycheck to paycheck, but we lived damn near close to that. My dad was in a stable job, but could get fired at any minute. And then 2009 hit, and that was pretty bad. My mom left to
the collapse.
Yeah, my mom left to just be a full-time mom. So now only my dad's making some money.
And all the pressure of the family, and he might get fired at any moment.
And then he does in 2012 when the company goes under. There was Nomura. That was the name of the stock brokerage, and he was. I remember the.
You think those guys would see it coming?
It's hard world though. It's because, if you make a good investment here, you could be saved. If you make one bad investment, you're out the door. It's those type of things. He luckily worked in making sure that stock trades were, able to go through on both ends. So he would work with his counterpart at the other company to make sure that, it would work, the system, all that. So he was not in like one of those like on the Wall Street.
Yeah, in the trading floor.
But he's still in a volatile position. And right before the summer of 2012, I'm 8 years old, and I come home one day from school, and my dad's there, and which is weird because this isn't the time of remote working.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's in the office from 9 to 5, and he sits me and my sister down, who's 3 years old at that point, 4 years old at that point. And he explains, I lost my job today. We have to make a lot of financial cuts. Like, don't expect to do this or have a big trip or here. And that's kind of how I grew up. And then as I got older, I'm very fortunate that they both found stable jobs that they both are in. My grandparents, unfortunately, with their passing, they left behind some money for them so that they've become much more comfortable now. But they still they just bought their first home.
Oh, really?
50. My mom, she's going to hate me if she watches, but she just turned 54.
I'm sure she's a babe. I'm sure she's a babe.
She's going to kill me. But my dad's 51, turning 52 this year. And my mom just turned 54 a few days ago on her birthday. And they bought their first house last year, over the age of 50, because they rented out of my grandparents' house for their whole marriage. For 25 years of marriage, they lived on a second floor of a two-story house. And that's how they got by. They raised their kids to college, one almost through college.
So it's almost two different stories between you guys.
Yes.
And that's like two different.
And that's where our great friendship, because we're able to share so many things that we also share the same opinion on, but we're able to understand that we crafted it in our own way through different experiences, through different, opportunities that arised in our learning experiences, but we all concluded to the same points pretty much. I don't know if there's an issue that we disagree on.
No,
and that's really not a bad thing.
There really isn't.
But
it's probably your hair.
Probably. I'm talking policy, but yeah, if you want to go personal, you fuck bitch.
I'll tell you what the connection is, though. We had the same story happen, but the generation before me. So my parents both grew up extremely poor, and they were instilled the proper values.
Which explains the difference, the gap between kid 1 and kid 2.
Well, it was before, like, their families were poor.
But,
okay.
But I'm saying it does explain it, because when you first have a kid, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
right,
this fucker cost a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
I have a gap between me and my sister. I only have one sister. She's 3.5 years younger than me. And the reason isn't that they couldn't afford it, it's that they wanted to wait. They didn't want to, at first they didn't know if they want a second kid. They thought they did, but I wasn't an easy kid. So
yeah,
they're like, dude,
you're not an easy adult.
Well, that's what I've been told. I've been told by many people, many different people. But no, I think that going back to you.
Right. Well, the gap I was saying is I wasn't around that, but I was definitely, my parents instilled those values in me of even if you're at the rock bottom, you pick yourself up and you keep working. My mother, her father, and my grandparents, they were very, very poor. They didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And, they still put as much money together as they could. And they said, we're going to send you to university. We're going to make sure you have a good job. And we're going to make sure you're successful. And they took a lot from it. They learned to save every single dime they could. And they appreciated everything they had. So in that way, we are similar, because then they instilled those values in me.
Right.
It's all about what you make of it. Because, everybody at some point in their family tree, is at a point where they're at rock bottom, and you're either going to sink or swim. Did it happen to you or for you? Did you learn from the experience, or are you going to sit here and say, well, I can't get a job, I can't do anything, I can't make money, I'm just going to sit around all day because that's all I could do? And that's where the ideology gets passed down. It's just the hard work and get yourself.
The only way you
back
can
up.
teach that is through experience. You can't teach did this happen to you or for you? Because that's where a lot of the ideological problems.
It's like trying to tell somebody how to put a car together as opposed to putting the car together.
Oh,
right.
Of course.
It's exactly like that. It's completely. It's just a change in just the opinions of people, where you say, oh, this shared event might have happened to us, but we look at it differently because we were instilled with different values that were only instilled to them through an experience, traumatic maybe, where they learned, because the only way you can truly learn something is by doing it, right? You want to play a sport, you can't just
you can't tell somebody how to play soccer. They have to play soccer.
They have to
For
play.
sure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to
Because
learn.
there's an experience, when you're in the experience, you learn a lot more from it and you see what it's actually like. It's hard to be sympathetic for somebody when you've never been in a similar instance and when you can't understand what it's like to be in that instance, at least in some degree. Like if you have somebody that's never been wronged in their entire life, they're going to
have a really weird perspective.
Right.
On the
They're going
world.
to have a really weird perspective on the world. And what I would say is I tell a lot of people this, honestly, in my mind, in modern day, the person who embodies that idea of picking yourself up and showing that you don't need, to be at the same level you're at, I would say is J.D. Vance. I mean, I think his story is remarkable. He grew up with nothing. His mother was a drug addict, right?
Yeah.
And I believe they were on government assistance. And that's why it's so important, because today, government assistance is looked at in such a way. It's such a controversial thing, but he's the embodiment of, look, this guy was on those programs and he had nothing. And look where he is now. He's the vice president.
Well,
it's possible.
Yeah, but it goes to like, it's supposed to be like, do you ever hear the saying where it's like, it's a hand up, not a handout?
Yep.
That's where that goes to. Because
Trying
if
to
you
lift someone
if you
up.
become dependent, it's like, I'm not going to kick drugs if they're really easy to get from the nonprofits in town to give me everything to you. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Where it's like once you make it available, there's no incentive to get past the dependence.
that's why
Well, it's just like how they're handing out clean needles to people in some
that's
areas.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Yes, New York.
that's if you wanted to do
That's so
it.
dumb.
Right. Make
That's
it bad.
that's giving the alcoholic the pint glass.
Right. Make it a bad thing. Say no. If you're going to do this, you might die. Like, because then
Yeah, we're
that'll
not gonna
stop
give you
people
clean
from doing
needles.
it. Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't deter
I-
anyone.
It's absolutely crazy that they do this, but it's by design. It's people are not this. They're not this.
It
dumb.
is, but
You can't say
I think
in any world. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I can't say in any world where, let's give out clean needles, so at least if they're gonna fucking do drugs, they do it clean.
Yeah, but they think it's being
That's
kind.
how they present it.
Is it that they know that it's easier to manipulate and control people when they're low and when they're confused? When they're down and confused?
I think that that's the outcome. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's exactly the intention.
I don't think it was the intention to begin with, but I think over the years the people who are part of it realize that it could be abused. I think majority now it is.
I think it is the intention. Just personally.
I mean, look, if you look at the whole Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum way of looking at things,
I mean, how many times have they talked about this? Bill Gates talked about we need to cleanse and we need to reset for
useless eaters and all that shit.
Why do you think the Democrats in our country right now, in the national government, in the federal government, are giving this much of a crap about the ICE deportations now, under this administration?
Do you want to know my thoughts on it?
I'm asking.
I think that there's always these inflection points, right? I think with all the crazy shit going on, there's an innumerable amount of things to focus on to distract, right? So you just got to pick the moment and then pick the thing that you want to distract about, right? Our country is $39 trillion in debt. It's $1 trillion every 100 days, I believe, right? If you look at it on the timeline, right? If you go okay, when did we start getting in debt? Where's the debt coming from? Who's it supposed to be going to? How the fuck do you get $39 trillion in debt? It is my belief that most of that is fraud. I think
I would agree with you
over
on that.
time.
Yeah.
If you go over the last 15 years, they're talking about Minneapolis is
Just wait till
a couple $100 billion in
think
fraud
about how
over
much fraud
time.
we found just in that it was found in just that one
Just
case.
wait till they get to Ohio and a couple of these other states,
California, but I think every state did it. I think every state did it.
100%.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
The
whether
border
they're still
states-
fully practicing it now, I think that history
even
absolutely.
Texas.
But you have open, I mean, you can't look. Here's the thing, right? If you spent most of your formative years, high school and college, around drug addicts and you shot drugs, right? And you get into a position of like, let's say governor or something, like, do you think that'll come up? Do you think maybe people will be 100%. Like, hey man, you spent like 15 years with drug addicts and then like, and you were shooting up drugs yourself, right? That's Tim Walz and communism. So like, you can't ignore like what is going on. Like you, like, oh, he might be like the sweet fucking football coach guy, but like Nazis were football coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Russian communists were football coaches.
Let's cut you off. I just saw something yesterday. Tim Walz has $75K in the bank. I think this came from Ruthless podcast, actually, is where I heard it, which I'll get into at some point later because I'm still giddy about that. But he has $75K in the bank, Tim Walz. And a retainer for a lawyer to go up against the Department of Justice lawyer is like $50K.
It's not enough.
And they just brought up the point. If you're telling me he doesn't have one Cayman offshore account, you're fucking full of shit.
He's got something somewhere.
Because
and like,
there's no way a governor that was almost a heartbeat away from the presidency has $75K in the debt. He's just
no.
Come on,
no. And you know, I think you were going to elaborate on the communist thing because that's what I think. Yeah, look, the only thing that explains all this, because like, do you know where the term racism comes from?
Well, go for it.
It's crazy. So the racism comes from the Ukraine region of Russia. And in the 1840s, 1850s, 1860s with Marx and the ideas of communism at that time, that it was a certain group of people that were coming up with these ideas. Marx was a certain group of people. We don't have to go into that. I'm sure, wink, wink, we all know. But when they had their public debate, their public discussion, because at that time it was a monarchy, Russia was ruled by kings.
Yep, the czars. Yep.
When they would say their ideas and someone would refute their ideas, they came up with this term racist. Because well, you're not listening, and you're telling me I'm wrong because you have an inherent hate for me and my people. And it's a way to stifle dissent. It's a way to make people not be able to talk. And then you flash forward like 150 years. That same thing is being used to say how bad these ideas are. Now, there's a lot of people on the left who think that conservatives don't have compassion, that they don't have a heart and they don't have any empathy. And I think that's total fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that to continue to allow, like, I firmly believe that in the state of Minnesota, there are people in the administrative level that know it's wrong, but think that it's the right thing to do out of empathy. Like the fraud stuff where they're like, we know that there's not 132 healthcare companies in this one address, but it's going to help the Somali people, or it's going to help the people who aren't white.
That and votes, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You hit on the first point. There was two reasons. It was the fraud.
Well, the jig is up, so now you got to bring in the votes.
Right.
They've been pouring people. That's why Biden had the borders open. Pouring people into this country. You naturalize them through processes, whether it's handing them state-sponsored IDs like California does. It's a driver's license.
I get that, but like the bigger point I think I'm trying to make is that like I don't like when you think that it's willful, right? When you think that all of this is intentional. I think that there may be a few people who it is intentional for, but for the rest of them, they just think they're being good people.
Is the people that think it's intentional at the top, though?
Yeah, no, 100%. I know exactly what you mean. I do think a large part of it, though, genuinely, and it might sound like a joke, but I genuinely think a large portion of it is TDS. Like, I think it's just go against anything that's a Trump stance.
Well, now it is.
But like nowadays.
Now
like
it
with
is.
Tim Walz and all that stuff, like I think a lot of that is just a Trump thing. Like, oh.
Yeah, but like, if you said to me, like, that guy over there is a clown. Well, what clown shit does he do? Does he blow up balloons? Does he get him and 18 people out of a small car?
No, he lies.
Does he do backflips? Does he do this? Does he do that?
He lies about being in Tiananmen Square.
Well, but the point of it is like I can identify what a clown is, and a clown does shit. And when they say like Nazi, racist, Hitler, shit like that, I'm like, but where? Like, I don't see the thing that you're describing.
Prove your point. Prove me wrong.
But they think that it's there. Like we're literally at like this moment, right? And this is why there's like this flashpoint in the United States right now, but it's not something that's organic and came from nowhere. This has been going on for decades.
It's crazy to me though, because like I just don't understand how, like, for instance, Graham Plattner, you know Graham Plattner?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, Graham Plattner, right? Running
explain it real quick.
Well,
He's running in the U.S. Senate again.
For what is it that was
Susan Collins' seat,
right,
up in
Maine?
Yeah, he's a former.
Oh, is he the military guy?
Yes, he's the former army.
So
vet,
remember, Pete Hegseth had that Jerusalem cross tattoo right here, and they were saying it was a Nazi sympathizer tattoo. This guy quite literally, has a Nazi sympathizer tattoo right here,
and he knows it, and the media covered it.
Is he a D?
Yes,
he's a Democrat.
He's a progressive Democrat, and the media covered it, and it's already like washed out in the news.
It's already washed out.
Well, that's how they get away with it. They go, well, we did cover that.
Well, here's
it's
the
like
best
you
part.
spent like 6 seconds and put it at 3 a.m.
Professor we were talking about earlier, right, has no problem alluding to Trump and MAGA being Nazis, right? A kid asked her about that in class, and she goes, well, I think, this is her exact answer, I think, we all go through hard times in our life. That was her answer. And I'm sitting there, I'm
He's
like,
not joking,
I'm not even joking. I'm like,
I know that's how she would respond.
Yeah, I'm looking at her. I'm like, there's no way you're justifying this now after you yourself were so annoyed at Pete Hegseth for having a Jerusalem cross tattoo. It's so like the jokes write themselves because it's the exact same size and the exact same location.
Yeah,
it's like you can't write it any better.
I mean,
like,
so why is it that like why would one way be good and one way not? Like let's just ruminate on this for a second. Why would she think that it's okay?
I think
why would she think it's excusable?
I think with a lot of professors too, it's a complete idea of I know a lot more than you. I'm a professor. I'm smarter than you. And the fact that I just got caught with something that's like goes against my side is embarrassing.
Do they think that they are an authority?
Oh yeah.
Of truth?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Well, when I told you about the example from earlier about FDR unpacking the courts, I got lambasted after class for bringing that up. And more importantly, for diverting the conversation that is supposed to be a learning experience for, I don't know, like 14 people that were in the class. It wasn't a full class. For 14 people, which half of which were like so happy that I was just eating up time arguing with her, and the other half couldn't care less. But she lambasted me.
What a great metaphor for America.
Yeah. Lambasted me about interrupting, even though I stopped talking at like the 10-minute mark, and I let her just talk, and but I don't agree. And then she would start up again. It's like that example is the most prominent example I have of college, just pure insanity. But I could go a lot more on like just some of these ideas that I've talked to these people outside of the classroom and inside the classroom. And oftentimes it's not too different. And that's saying something, because outside of the classroom, I wouldn't share. That's, personal stuff that everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But when you're in a classroom, you're not just a normal person. You're an educator. Your job is not to just
You're not supposed to tell people what to think. You're supposed to tell them how to think.
But not just that, but you're not supposed to, when you get caught, then get upset.
Is that because they don't want to go like, oh, you're right?
No, never. I've never been told I was right.
I know, but
I
because they don't
I think
want
it's a large portion of it is where a lot of them don't want to be.
They don't want the
wrong.
others to hear that you're right.
Yeah, but is it because like think about it this way?
They're the teacher, you're the student, you're learning from them. End of story. That's the idea.
No matter
end of story.
End of
there's
story.
nothing they can learn from you. They
Book
know
closes.
it all.
Unless they're
That was good.
unless there's like some sort of minority story that all the class has to sit around the campfire and listen to.
Well, of course. I had a class that was, I'm not going to say what class it was, but
yeah.
I had a class that had nothing to do with what we would talk about every single day. 50-minute class, 40 minutes of that was dedicated to lambasting Trump. And
wait, in what way? Tell me about this.
Just anything, everything you've ever heard.
What kind of class, without giving it away, what kind of class was it supposed to be versus what it was?
Like
is it like home ec and then it's like 40 minutes
of... No. It was a political class, but it had nothing to do with Trump. It was on like how the systems of government work. Like it had nothing controversial. It was just simply like, hey, this is how this functions.
The Department of Environmental Protection works like this.
Sure.
The legislature works like this.
It would be 40 minutes of bashing Trump on everything you've heard. Like, you know what I mean?
Pick a topic,
any of the big stories that you've heard, like just bashing on Trump, small things, this, that. And we would have 10 minutes of lecture, which would really be like 5 minutes of lecture because, you don't get the full 10 minutes. And it got so bad we didn't have a final in that class because we didn't get to anything. And it's like, I just
How much does this class cost?
like what, $3,000 or something
Well, it
like that
depends
per
by
credit?
the student. It depends. Yeah, it's about 3,000, but it depends on the student. It depends on the scholarships that they get.
No. Like literally, like forget the scholarships and everything.
No.
How much does this class cost?
Well,
Probably like $3,000, right?
Probably at least $3,000. I would say 5 closer to.
Probably close to 5.
But that's just that one.
So wait,
class.
you're paying $5 grand
to have somebody tell you something that's not even on the itinerary.
I hate to use this word, and I'm sure people would rather me not, but it's quite literally like an indoctrination camp.
It is. No, that's exactly what it is.
I don't think it's quite literally. I think it is.
It's exactly
if you like, look, if you don't, wouldn't it be a fascinating conversation to sit in a room? If we could, if you guys familiar with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yes.
Okay, where they go through time and get historical figures for their
Yes.
class project. Okay, wouldn't it be a really interesting conversation to take, let's say, KKK members from the late 80s, Nazis from the 30s, and crusade Christians, and get them in a room and just, without like murdering each other,
take all the weapons away before they enter.
And like somewhere add
like the box.
Like the point is like when I grew up, I was always fascinated with like, so let's say World War II, right? So we dropped the bomb on World War II, or on Japan, and occasionally you would see like these interviews of like someone who was in Hiroshima or Nagasaki and like the person who was like the pilot on the plane, and they would talk. And it was just like you'd assume that like, oh, they'd get their bayonets out and just murder each other, but it wasn't. Like they would have conversations about like, well, what was Japan like at the time? What was the United States like at the time? What did you think you were doing? What did you think you were fighting for? What did you like? If you don't have those conversations, if you're just like Japs bad or Gringos bad or American buckaroos bad, you're never going to have a fucking conversation. And these people like, how do you get a refund?
And that's the problem with the two parties though, because it's come to the point where,
well, the one thing they agree on is that there shouldn't be a third option.
Yep.
Yeah.
They want their coin to not have the third side.
They went as far as fucking over Bernie Sanders, not once but twice in both 2016 and 2020.
Yeah, but you know what? Fuck Bernie because he acquiesced.
I absolutely can't.
Like if he really stood for what he stood for, he wouldn't allow that to happen. Which means he has no integrity to me.
I totally agree. It could not have happened to a worse person, honestly. No,
I don't think he's
a bad person, but he's just a radical socialist that goes against foundational
He's
principles.
a theater
while
kid.
flying around on his private jet to talk about how
he's a
great
theater
his
kid.
Yeah.
He's talking about carbon emissions and how we all need to drive cars that cost more than people make.
Do you know what my favorite stat is about carbon? Number one, it's plant food.
Yeah.
Do you know what percentage in the atmosphere is carbon dioxide?
A lot, right?
How much do you think?
I think it's like I don't want to say I think
60 high 60s.
Man, you know what? You guys are getting pilloried in your schools and social media and everything about the threat of carbon dioxide and how much it's all this crazy shit. What is the percentage of the atmosphere that is carbon dioxide? The big thing we should worry about.
It's gonna be like 3% now. Now I thought it was higher. Yeah, I thought it was in the 60s.
thought it was gonna be high because I thought it was gonna be something that like we don't have to worry about because it's like
no. I thought it was something that we very much have to worry about, and it's like it's just a part of the air.
Today, do you know?
No.
Do you know?
No.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna go 3 because of the way you're styling the question.
What's your guess?
I'll go 8.
8%?
Yeah.
3%, 8%. 0.04%.
Yeah, we were going way too far.
Well, it was like
60,
when you look back in the like
listen.
articles
I just
from,
want you to listen to this, right? Carbon dioxide is 0.04% of our atmosphere. Humans are responsible for 3% of that 0.04%, of which the United States is responsible for 13% of that 3% of that 0.04%. The United States is responsible for 0.000156% of carbon dioxide production.
So if you really cared, you would stop producing stuff in some of the dirtiest economies on the planet.
Actually, do you know what? In the world since the 80s, or no, the 90s. Since the 90s, do you know what canopy cover is?
No.
Okay, the leaves on the trees.
Oh, okay.
That's canopy cover.
Okay.
Since the 90s, the canopy cover in the world has increased by 2 continental United States, which means
I don't doubt that.
plants are growing better
More
and
trees.
faster with more CO2. So 0.04% of our atmosphere is CO2. At 0.03%, shit starts dying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a compelling case to make sure that we have more CO2 in our atmosphere than
for
less.
Sure, for sure. And I mean, even topics like global warming and stuff like that. There's been
Climate always changes.
Al Gore said we'd be dead by now.
The same article caption that you see on a CNN post tomorrow is one that you could find like almost the exact same in the 70s. Literally the exact.
In the 70s, they thought we were freezing.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, in the 70s, we were going to freeze. That was the big scare.
Climate change, I guess.
But
Like they were always freaking about
we were
climate
going the
change.
opposite way.
Yeah, but so
yeah.
look at the marketing structure of this, right? We're all going to freeze, right? Then it was acid rain. Then it was global warming. Then when none of it came true, climate change.
It's climate change. I was gonna say is I just don't.
More people
understand.
die from the cold than the heat.
Yes, and this is true.
I'd be worried about global cooling, but that ain't.
The last storm we just had, 17 of the 39 victims of this huge storm in the Northeast was from New York, in the snowstorm.
Yeah, probably because there's nothing there for them.
I think it's because probably like 11 of them are homeless drug addicts that didn't realize it was fucking snowing out. But
So, do you know we did those homeless documentaries around here? Did you ever see those?
Yeah, you showed me those.
This is the craziest thing. So, I'm not a fan of meth. I don't think anybody should do it.
Way to start it.
There's always going to be a but right there, huh?
I don't think anybody should do it. I think it leads to terrible outcomes, and I think it really messes with your brain. The homeless people I talked to about why they started doing meth was because when it's cold, it raises their body temperature.
That's okay.
No way.
So they're doing meth to not
As a
freeze
coat.
to death
Yeah,
as a coat.
that makes sense.
And then what happens is like now you're stuck. Now you just do meth.
Yeah, that's a strange logic to me. I feel like it'd be cheaper to buy a coat and a sleeping bag than meth over time.
They get free.
but you
Dude,
get
we
other
went
stuff
and
with
cleaned
meth.
up all those places. All the clothes and tents they get, they just throw them away. They just leave them there. Like all the
yeah.
we took out 2 40-yard dumpsters of crap. The dumpsters were donated. Everybody donated their time to clean everything up. The amount of clothes that we got, because people donate their clothes. People feel like they're given to the needy. They give all this shit. These people wear it once. The rain comes. They leave it outside. It's ruined. They don't care. Like when I'm telling you clothes like this high, piles of clothes this high, that as long as if you had like a laundry machine or something like that, you could use those clothes for decades.
Yeah,
and they would just throw them away.
That's too bad.
I think that actually represents a larger problem for especially our generation, which is the
You guys are fucked.
the rising cost
Thank
of
you.
buying a home.
I wish it was different, but
I
they
know.
screwed everything up for you guys.
I mean,
like you guys,
yeah.
your generation now is going to have to be the generation that saves America.
First generation worse off than their parents is supposedly what the saying is.
Well, no, it's not. The saying goes, good times create
Well, that's the fourth turning shit, but like, you guys are fucked.
weak times create strong men create good times create inefficient men or weak men
Basically, hard times
bad-
create weak men.
Yes.
That's it.
And so we're in one of those hard times, and the reason I'm saying this is not only do we touch upon this earlier with the rising cost of student debt for going to institutions that are becoming ever so more partisan and like an institution, indoctrination camp. Not institution.
Do you really believe it's an indoctrination camp?
I think it
Is
works
there any
very
doubt?
similar. I think it's
It's very close.
very, very close. If
Yeah.
not, it's very, very close.
Are there people on campus that are like quietly going like, this is crazy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But and that's a great point.
They find each other.
They find each other and
Usually it's like a wink or something. And like, it's
yeah,
weird
yeah.
how like people know there's like,
like just a
there's like
nod and
get
like
a pat on the back
like
after a class after you.
Yeah, it's
argued
almost
with
like you
the-
can mind read.
They usually just will
They'll
treat
give
you
you
like a human being.
They'll give
and
you
that's
the
how
nod.
you know that.
The nod, like
Wait, literally, that's how you know they're nice?
Well, I mean, you can
Yeah.
read it pretty easily.
they're
if
not calling you a
nice.
Nazi. Then if they're not calling you a Nazi or they're not giving you a disgust look on their
Well,
face.
it's very easy because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like conservatives, don't really care for the most part about political affiliation. Like it's not like if I'm going up to some random person, I don't care what their party is. I feel like so many Democrats I talk to, the first thing they want to know about you is what party are you affiliated with?
Do you like Trump?
Yeah, and it's like, well, why does that matter? Like ask me what my name is first, and then we'll figure that out.
Because they know, depending on yes or no, whether or not they think you're an evil person.
There are
which is ridiculous.
There are a lot of people though that I am friends with that are liberals that are able to.
Yeah, of course, there's great people in every group.
Everybody's different, but there seems to be a larger growing side on the left that is leans towards more progressive and socialism, but that is unwilling to engage in conversation with people, to be able to not just do that, but respect other people's opinions, because that's the only reason they have theirs is the First
How many
Amendment.
kids up at your school do you think are on pharmaceuticals? Psychotropic drugs, SSRIs, benzodiazepine.
A lot, and I'll tell you why.
I don't think it's a lot. I think it's
a lot. I think.
You guys are going to disagree and remain friends. This is interesting.
No, we're not. This is the end.
I mean, depending on what type of pharmaceuticals medicines you're talking about,
Prescribed.
Sure. I would say the amount of antidepressants and anxiety medication is through the roof in absorbance amounts that we don't need. I'll give you an example of it. I had a friend, smart person, and they weren't the best book smarts, but they got decent grades, probably like around 90s would be their average grade.
That's a good grade.
That's a good grade.
That's a great grade.
But they were like, why can't I ever get past that? Because they couldn't, that was like the roof, you know what I mean? 90 was the roof. Why can't I ever get past that? And then they go to a doctor, oh, you have ADHD. Okay, well, everyone has ADHD to a level.
Not kids who play Call of Duty.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Well, then here's the best part. I'm talking to them the next day. Well, what'd they say? They try to put me on antidepressants.
For ADHD?
For ADHD? That's ridiculous. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Do you know we're the only country in the world that acknowledges ADHD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I disagree with you. I don't think it's that much. I really think it's like a 20 to 25%, like a quarter. I don't think it's
That's
more
a
than,
fucking lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but I don't think it's like more than
No, it's not more than majority, but I would say it's
even
a
more than most
huge
people
chunk.
would. I'd still think it's a large percentage. But out of that 25 to 20%, I would say at least 15 to 20% is antidepressants and more.
Like most of them are in therapy and on drugs.
This is not things that were common. People did not get these type of drugs.
Like when I was growing up, this is the big problem, right? So everything moves glacially, right? So you have to look at like the butterfly effect of like how we get to places,
yes.
right? Off camera, I'll tell you the crazy theory I have on why everything is what it is right now. Because you have to have,
Sorry, guys.
you have to think about it over time. Because like
I don't know if it's exactly on the same topic, but
oh fuck it, I'll say it.
That's all you had to say.
So we need to understand why people my age and are trying to wonder why like it seems like everyone's crazy, because like it seems like everyone's crazy. Like we grew up supporting the ACLU, supporting the Nazis to have a parade. That was my generation, and my parents' generation grew up with that, because we're like, yeah, we don't like them, but like they should have the right to do it. It's America.
Yeah, everyone
Right?
has it.
Sure.
You don't start restricting there.
So you want my grand conspiracy on behavior?
If you're willing to share.
Okay. Do not interrupt me
no.
unless you have questions.
We're going to have questions.
So have you ever heard something called the Dole-Buy Act?
No.
Okay, the Dole-Buy Act was passed in 1986, which gave which gave the vaccine manufacturers liability coverage for any injuries that are caused from vaccines. Because at the time, those companies went to the federal government and said, we're going to stop making vaccines because it's too expensive for us to fight the lawsuits that create the product, right? So Ronald Reagan and Bob Dole and this guy named Buy got together and basically made the only product in American history to that day and since, the one that if it harms you, you have to sue the federal government, which is vaccines. It's the only product that happens for, right? So now you're an industry that has no responsibility and no consequences for a product if you harm people, right? Now, Also in the late 80s, early 90s was this big conference that started to happen. It was a private conference because the incidences of autism were increasing, and they wanted to know why. So I forget the name of the island. They went to an island, and the only reason people know about this is because somebody transcribed it, and it was released during a FOIA release. So they had all the players there. They have the government players, the pharmaceutical industries, and the politicians, and they were there, and they basically said, like, there's a red line where autism starts to increase, and that was the passage of the Dole Act. Like, there's no other thing that can account for this. There was nothing that was done environmentally. There was nothing that was done in the food. The biggest change on that was the passage of the Dole Act. Now, the thing is like, when it comes to, like, these things happen over time. It's not like tomorrow you start to do these things and you start to notice these things immediately. It's not till, like, later on in life, especially for children. So you're not going to see these developmental delays. You're not going to see these mental developmental delays. You never before saw, like, the propensity of hardcore, stimming, nonverbal, totally trapped in their body kids. So then they put autism, and there was, like, varying degrees, whether you have
mild set.
Yeah, but, like, there's like different forms of it, which is just basically people who have they can't hear loud noises, but they're basically pretty much all there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Square pegs, round holes. They see the world differently. I forget the name of it. So this is the 90s. Also in the 90s, what we're doing is we started to have these. I remember the Time magazine cover where it's like, we've cured depression, and that was Prozac, right? A thing that we find out in the last few years never worked. Prozac never worked.
Just watch
SSRIs never worked.
Just watch The Sopranos and you'll find out how good
Prozac works. So now you have basically, I'm going to say it because when you harm a child in their brain, it's brain damage, right? So you have brain damaged kids. You have totally medicated parents who are on these drugs and dependent on these drugs, that all they need is, like, sunshine and good food, and they don't have to worry about it. You add all the foods that we eat that have all the poisons in them, right? Which if you thought of the world as, like, a total psycho Bond villain, Marvel universe villain, you would say, okay, all these things are being equal. Now all we have to do is we have, like, an army of subservient people who all we have to do is just tell them a thing, and we can manipulate them whatever way we want the wind to blow. So you add most of the young left right now, they're all on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. All of them.
They all have
like the ones who are, like, not the ones who are, like, sitting home voting for Kamala. I'm talking about the ones who are, like, out there protesting, looking at cops saying, fucking shoot me, shit like that. And they think everything is racist, right, and everybody's a terrible person.
Blue-haired, yeah.
And they know that, like, there's these. So then you add on top of that social media and the deception that social media does. Yeah. If you guys ever watch this this documentary called The Social Dilemma, it explains how, like, it's basically like a psyop. Mm-hmm. They can manipulate large swaths of people to do things. It's the same thing as marketing and like, why does McDonald's still say that it has a great cheeseburger? Anybody in the world who hasn't had a McDonald's cheeseburger yet I've never met that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
so they all know the product is there. So you add all these things together. You add the autism, the SSRIs, social media, and you can now control large swaths of people in the media who are all on SSRIs. Don't tell me that Don Lemon isn't on an SSRI.
He was arrested today.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy? I was just reading that.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, it's not. They're like, oh, they're arresting journalists now. It's like, well, journalists before didn't, like, literally violate people's First Amendment.
Literally.
Yeah, he planned it. He went in there. He documented
there at the plan,
and then he celebrated what he did. Yeah. So, like, Don Lemon, whether it's a slap on a wrist or something like that, he deserves something because they terrorized those people in that church. And that was fucked up.
Absolutely.
So when you look at the world today, I think that's what's going on. You have a large swath of totally manipulatable people who everybody, like, all the people in power, which aren't you and me. We don't own media companies. We don't own social media companies. We're just the bottom feeders of it all. They know how to manipulate things. And I think that's what's happening. That's why you see, like, I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, when was the last time you heard that good girl's name?
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing 2 weeks ago.
It's all Alex Preddy.
Yeah. That girl went away.
Right.
And it was just, it was all like all this stuff, like give it 10 days and they're on to a new thing. And it's like, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about anything that happened 2 weeks ago. These are people, these groups of people are people who only give a fuck about the current moment, right? They want to be incensed. They want to be incensed. Why? And they have some sort of suicidal thoughts in their heads, because I can't believe how many I've seen where they're going up to the
these people
law enforcement going, shoot me.
Yeah,
they don't have jobs. They're
getting, look, everybody's getting paid.
Oh, they're getting paid 100%.
The big agitators are getting paid, but the other ones,
George Soros funding. I mean, this is absolutely
boxes of actual
these are
equipment.
People that don't speak the language that are holding signs that are perfect English. That are
all that shit I get. Like, but that to me is just those are ornaments on the Christmas tree.
Why do these people not have a job that they have to go to? Why are they not contributing to an economy that is working for them?
I'm telling you why.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I agree with you. I have some very similar theory.
And you don't need 50% of the group to do it. You need very few.
You just need a small portion. But it's the chemicals that they have in our drugs. It's the chemicals they have in our food,
our air,
our air, everything. And then it's also the ideology. So you have all these, the huge LGBTQ movements. And all that.
I'm all good with the LGBTs,
which is fine with me.
I'm
completely fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. But when it gets to a radical point, that's where it starts getting a little fuzzy. And I feel like you get everybody confused. I think there's nothing wrong with being LGBTQ, transgender. I have no problems with that. But I do have
the T's fucked.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with Marky on this one. I'm not a fan.
I don't care. I don't care.
As long as you're a good person, I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
You can do whatever you want. Just don't rub it in my face.
I knew a lot of people that were just like me, and then next thing you know, they were gay or whatever, and then a year later they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm not anymore." And
it's trendy.
It was
trendy, right? So that's what I'm saying with it. Although I don't fully disagree with that, although I don't disagree with the LGB stuff, I think a lot of it was a trend for a lot of people, and I think some people fell to it to where then they got drugged up. They were all confused. They didn't know what they wanted to be.
Well, now all my friends are based on how I identify.
Right.
So how do I walk away from them? That's terrifying.
And then you get these people all sad and confused and depressed, and then you say, look at somebody like Charlie Kirk. He's everything you're not. He's successful. He's happy. He's rich. All that stuff. And you're saying it's people like him who oppress you, and it's your job to take care of him. And that's how they use the army.
How did that affect you guys?
No, it was rough. I watched together every single day.
Right? We were together when it happened.
Yeah.
You share the story.
Yeah. So we were together. We were hanging out at my cousin's house, and then we all kind of dispersed. He went back to his house. I was just about to leave, and I got a text from a friend of mine like, "Hey, Charlie just got shot."
I'm watching the video at the same time as he's doing it up in my room.
And I'm like, "What?" And they sent me the video, and it was the close-up one. I
didn't see the close-up one first.
It was horrible. I wouldn't have watched it. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, it's some,
It shot him in the shoulder.
The first one was the wide shot that was circulating, and then the close-up, because I'm like, oh, he's got to survive this. And
I saw the close-up.
And then like 3 minutes, and I remember saying out loud, as soon as I saw the shot, and I know a bunch of military guys, and we started sharing. I said, oh my God.
He's dead.
Yeah.
The way it shot, like the blood shot, I was like, he's dead.
Yeah.
I hate to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you had tears in your eyes.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
I was pretty upset, but I wasn't like that. He had tears in his eyes. He's coming up to my door. They just shot Charlie. I'm like, I know. Come in. We'll talk about it. We had just dispersed. We were just hanging out, talking. I'm pretty sure we were talking policy too. Like we were just having a bullshit fucking argument and talk. Oh, I agree with this policy. Yeah. And then okay, I'll see you later. Dispersed. 5 minutes later, I get a knock at the door. And in that 5 minutes, I'm watching a video of someone that not only did you love and listen to, I loved and listened to.
How'd you get into him? How did both of you guys get into him?
Good. I'll let you go
the clips?
first. You want me to?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I think it was probably just the clips, to be honest. I think I saw the clips. I was immediately just interested. I thought that he had some good things to say. And honestly, the reason I was so upset about, of course, it's a horrible tragedy, but I think the reason it hit so many people, especially Gen Z people, is he really represented a bridge between the youth of this country and the elders, because a lot of people, you'll see with elections that somebody will lose and they'll be like, oh, it's because the youth, a lot of people like to blame the youth. oh, the youth don't know how to vote. They didn't come out to this. They're not well educated yet. He was the person that showed like, no, there's very well educated people. We know what we're talking about. And I'm going to be the person that's going to speak on behalf of those people. So when he gets shot, it's like, well, there goes our voice and the truth that the symbol, the bridge
is gone, but you can rebuild it. And I just want to,
I don't think anybody's going to rebuild that.
I know you can't rebuild that bridge.
I disagree. I 100% think.
No, he was
look at it right now.
Bridge.
We're
he was a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, we're
person.
what, like 4 or 5 months after
it takes time.
And it takes
time.
There's going to be wannabes, but you can't get another
there's
Charlie.
Gonna be you're not going to get a Charlie. No. But you're going to get someone that will be able to at least bridge the gap between the generations. And let's go back.
Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, that's the problem because now you have people like him.
Get me started on that.
Well, now you have people like him and Sneeko and stuff, and those are the people that are starting to try to take up the place, and that's a bad thing because I don't think that makes the movement.
No. Well, I mean, I believe in the First Amendment. And I think there's a place for those guys, but like
for sure.
But people like those guys grew up in Call of Duty fucking weight rooms.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
but to say somebody like that, like Nick Fuentes has such a huge following of people are like, I would vote for him for president immediately. I think that's ridiculous. I'm like,
well, there's people who want to vote for Stephen A. Smith for, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people
that want to vote for everybody,
right? But when you're trying to fulfill the shoes of the person who's a smooth talker, very calm and reserved, and then you're like, okay, well, we're going to give you Nick Fuentes now. I think that's a very slippery slope.
The great thing that Charlie did when he,
because I know a lot of kids are starting to really idolize the things that they're saying, and that is a problem.
But Charlie did a great job of putting.
Yeah, but so why?
Well, hold on.
It's not a problem for freedom of speech. I think they have the complete right to do it. I think the circumstances is unsavory, though. Like, if you were to ask me, I would have preferred, obviously, Charlie to still be around and not have these guys step up. I think it's going to be problematic down the line. I don't have a problem with them doing it, but I think it's going to cause problems down the line.
Charlie made sure to put Nick Fuentes in his place when Charlie was,
See, but you don't like him.
Okay, let's back up. So I first heard of Charlie in 2016 on Instagram. Weird place, but first heard of him on Instagram. Then, during the Biden administration, Charlie became so popular after 2020, after COVID, with a lot of more people. It became much more mainstream. I would see him a lot more, on For You pages. Or
actually, COVID probably opened everybody's eyes to follow Charlie more.
Probably. Yeah, right. That's my point. But Nick Fuentes and him had a debate once in that time, and Charlie fucking put that fucker in his place, which, and schooled him on every debate, theological, policy. And Nick Fuentes was relegated to that far right corner that, is a step away from Nazism, in my true opinion, which is, that's my opinion.
If we're gonna play the world of truth, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we should always do. It shouldn't be about party. It should always be about like the pursuit of the truth. I just think that guy just doesn't give a shit what he says.
100%.
And I don't think
it's clicks.
But I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think like they're like frat guys. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they're just basically like frat guys who just like put on their own shows, and they do live streaming and shit like that because like it's kind of fun, right? And but I don't think like, look, how would you be if everyone else ostracized you?
I mean, I would
like wouldn't you be like, fuck them?
100%. But
don't you think it would be smart to like have conversations with somebody like Nick Fuentes so he's not pushed out more and more and more?
So like when Tucker interviewed him, and a lot of people were upset about that, I was a fan of that. Give him a platform. Let people understand.
But did you watch it vitriolically or did you?
No, I watched it unbiasedly.
But what did you think?
I thought he's got a little too much.
Like the Stalin thing was a joke.
Yeah, I know. That I didn't take seriously.
And like Hitler has aura is a joke.
Right. For sure. But I think
that's half joke, half not, because.
But how do you know? Because you're trying to disseminate what's in his heart, and you don't know.
Here's my problem with it.
He does go a lot about the Jews. I'm sorry to cut you off, but he does a lot about the Jews and goes into. I
watch a lot of podcasts where they go really hard in the paint over white people.
Right. And so the same sitch applies, where if they're doing that, are you going to trust them on an opinion?
I think they have the right to say those controversial things.
No, I'm never going to take away anyone's right to talk.
But I don't think because somebody disagrees with me that they're bad people, or if I don't agree with them, they're bad people.
just because I said I don't agree with them doesn't mean I think he's a horrible person.
Before you were like, he's a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit. He is, because I think that he's purposely doing this to stir up debate, stir up drama, and what he does is actually hurts us as a party.
But how?
Because
I'll tell you how if you want me to stop in.
Yeah.
My problem with Nick Fuentes is he
and I'm not like defending him. I'm trying to make sure you guys.
I don't have a problem with saying whatever you want. However, I think when put in an elevated position, he brings a bad taste towards the Conservative Party while lining his pockets.
Same with
Candace. He'll say,
but how can he line his pockets when he was debanked and everything, and he has no income?
Well, because he has money. I mean, he gets money somehow. Well, it's his brand.
Yeah, but he's not like Joe Rogan or PBD or Tucker or any of that stuff.
But he's building a brand though. So for instance, there's no reason.
But he doesn't have a network.
He sells
it's literally just him.
He has a brand. No, he has a brand.
He has a website that he does all that on.
Yeah, so does every stupid podcast. Except this one.
Right.
Just wait till you do.
They don't have merch.
Just wait till you fucking do.
But here's the thing. Nick Fuentes, he says some smart stuff, but it's about how you say it. So he'll say something, he'll sprinkle in some ridiculous controversy, like getting out there and blasting a hard R. Like, I don't think that's necessary.
Right.
And I think it's distasteful.
What's the hard R? Retard?
No, the N-word.
My wife thought that was a thing. She's like,
the hard R is.
Well, somebody was talking about what's the book, Tom Sawyer or whatever, and they were talking about that, and they said the hard R, and my wife's like, why is everybody so upset about the retard word?
Sure,
but just keep going. Sorry.
Right, but the thing that I see a problem with that is, to me, I mean, maybe this isn't it, but in my opinion, I feel like the only reason he would get out there and say the things in the way that he says it, I think he's on sometimes with some stuff. I think he's correct about some things, but I think when he's sitting there, imagine putting down a script and saying, okay, I'm somewhat representing the Conservative Party, so I'm going to tell truth. But what's something that I could say that will really get people pissed off and say something really controversial?
Yeah, but do you think in his mind,
I gotta pick you
right?
up.
Do you think in his mind that if he's a free speech guy, right, that every rap song he hears has that?
Okay, wait.
For sure, but I don't think you have to go. I think when you're using it to describe, here's my thing. When it's in music, I think you have to look at.
Yeah, but I see a lot of people who are black that describe the black people as that.
For sure.
So like if we're supposed to be colorblind,
it's a double standard. I don't agree when people did, but that's me. I don't agree with that either. I think that's wrong.
I'm just.
Go back though. Nick Fuentes is not motivated by the same thing that a lot of young conservatives, including ourselves and a lot of
then
people
why are they listening to him?
Hold on.
But that's exactly why, because he's willing to do the stuff to get the clicks. So it's like Nick Fuentes is saying stuff that other people are saying, but the reason he's so popular is because he's getting out there and saying the N-word. So he's doing that to gain.
I don't think it's like every day though.
But his most viewed clips are the ones where he's saying ridiculous stuff, and then you go in his comments, and all their comments are people saying, "Oh yeah, like
he's motivated by anger and by fear." And
do you think so? I think you're placing that on without really knowing.
I think a lot of the content that he puts out there is based upon an anger in either the system or the parties or the people.
Well, isn't that what everybody's angry about?
I don't think so. I think
you're not angry about the system, the parties, or whatever.
I can be angry about it, but I don't need to be motivated by it, and that's the difference.
Well, that's the only reason to move. That's the only reason to get off your ass.
No. Motivation for many young conservatives is the ideas of stability and economic opportunity. You know, ideals to
because you're getting screwed,
right? But you don't need to be motivated by they're out to get me. I'm gonna have to go get them back. You can instead.
They've been out to. I'm pushing back on this a lot because you know what.
This is
there's a large swath of people that are going to be in your demo that are going after they listen to him and they go, I don't see the lie.
Yes,
and you guys got to be prepared for that, and you guys have to find a way to build that bridge
for sure.
But you have to say it in the right way, and it needs.
You can't do that. That's compelled speech.
No, it's not compelled speech.
Yes, because you go. I would listen to if you said it in the right way.
If you want your message to be.
Do you hear what I'm saying though? Like this is like a how I grew up, like an 80s 90s thing. Mm-hmm. You would say whatever the fuck you wanted to say.
You're entitled to. I'm not saying that,
but nobody got butthurt about it.
But what I'm saying is, if you really want to leave a good impression, and you really want people to come away with what you're saying and say, not only do I agree with it, but it makes sense in practicality.
But you're talking about almost like ceremony. You're talking almost about like if you want to. It's the idea of what we thought it was, where it's like if you're a statesman or something. This is why everybody loved Obama, because he's a good talker. right? He knew how to talk, right?
But it's very important.
But those words lied.
Oh, 100%.
I would rather have the person who I know exactly who they are and what they're about.
But you want a good
because there's no illusion.
Well, here's what I would say about it. It's the classic trope of with great power comes with great responsibility. I'm not going to take away his right to speak. Of course, I think he has the right to say that. Now, if you say that I agree with what he does, I don't, because I think that although he has the right to speak, he's put in a pedestal where he has to realize that there are people that are going to take what he says verbatim and act like that.
Doesn't that? So we were talking about art before, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be an artist and you're going to be sincere and you're going to do whatever you're going to, the moment that you're forced to change it because of some sort of 35,000 foot view perception, you're being disingenuous to your actual mind. Don't you think so? Because you're like, oh, now I have to do it this way.
But here's the thing. It's with specific stuff though, because he could get the same message across without telling people to say the N-word. Like getting a large group of people saying, "Hey, it's normal to say the N-word." I think that's
so. Should that word not be said?
No, listen. I'm
like
not
in
saying,
culture.
I'm saying when you're trying to represent the conservative party and saying that you're a face of the conservative party, I think that you should step back and say, this is not looking good. Like this doesn't look good.
I think we're getting caught up on the wrong thing with Nick Fuentes. It's not so much about the N-word and any of that stuff, because it's a topic that you can spend all day on. And
yeah, I think it would be better if you said the N-word and not the hard R, because I got real confused on that.
Well, there's a difference though, because there's a difference between saying with an A and an R.
Hard.
Look, I'm not advocating for it, but if you really boil it down, right? And this is the thing that like a lot of people who aren't going to be D or R, like the point of like bringing everybody together is like you accept them for like the warts and all, because it's like the mission is the same. It's like reduce human suffering.
Yeah, but if they have
stop
warts,
getting screwed.
But if they have warts, are you going to go and put them on the center stage about having?
If they have what?
If they have warts, like you said,
wards.
Yeah.
Warts.
Oh, warts.
Like warts.
Oh, warts.
If they have warts, blemishes, are you going to go and put them on stage and have them be the role model or the face of a clear face, like a clear face initiative?
No. They're the wart person.
Right. So in the same respect as Nick Fuentes, he might be deriving points that can be made from normal rational arguments, but he's taking it to such an extreme.
But do you think he's being insincere?
I think that insincere a little bit, because he has the opportunity.
Isn't like, shouldn't we be concerned about like ascribing motivation if we don't know it?
Why would we want
because that's how the left views the right.
Of course.
We're ascribing, when you ascribe an intent when you don't know it.
But why would we want someone that is so polarizing that even our own side is mixed on?
He's obvious. Why would you want a polarizing figure?
To me,
probably because somebody's gonna pay attention to a polarizing figure. Like in my experience, like if you have a polarizing figure, and like this is not in defense of or against, right? Mm-hmm. When you have a polarizing figure, and I'll give you a perfect example. There was a No Kings rally down, the most recent one, right? So I went down. There was a lot of people who said some crazy shit to me. There was a guy, he had a truck. The truck said, "Fuck the police, fuck the government." And he was parked out front. And I came across him, and he was like, I wanted to punch the guy in the face because he was saying incredibly terrible things about a woman who went up and criticized him for his truck and everything, right? So I have it on my phone. I never put it in the video that I did for the No Kings thing. And he was really enraging me. And I thought all the U kids were going to beat his ass, right? So I was there to film that too, just in case. And something happened where the temperature just went down like a degree. And I saw like a kink in this guy's armor. And I was like, wait a second, you're not this guy. So everybody walked away, and I went and I had this conversation with this guy for like 2 hours. He's a really nice guy. Everybody around us would think he's a piece of shit, but he was a really nice guy, and he got to explain to me why he was doing what he was doing, where it came from, why he doesn't trust this, why he doesn't trust that, why he was treating that woman the way he was treating her. And we got to the point where I was like, I don't agree with the way you were treating her, but like, I support your right to do that. And he wasn't a bad guy. He was just what What happens to, did you ever see the videos of the dogs in the fucking pounds where it's like the dog is just aggressive in the corner and scared? Like, I think that's Nick Fuentes.
But see, you could allow for the behavior without saying you approve of it. Like, that's what I'm saying with Nick Fuentes. I would never stop anybody. I'm not going to criticize him.
I'm not saying you guys are. I just think that like.
But
this guy. Look. You either talk to people like that right now, or in a few years, their flags are flying all over the country.
Well, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about that far, but it's very important.
People
to
are
have,
upset.
I think it's very important to have conversation. I would love to sit down and meet Nick Fuentes myself to grow my own opinion without, the social media bias. But when you combine polarizing social media figure and social media itself, you're going to get reactions that, yes, there are going to be people that support him.
Has he ever harmed a person?
No, he has never harmed a person.
See what I mean?
No,
look, I know
I've
that
never harmed a person. Have you?
That's why I don't think
that's also not the marker of what makes a good or bad person.
Right?
He didn't harm somebody.
Did he harm someone physically? Is what you're asking, right? Because he might have harmed someone with his words.
Well, person or property, like
well,
this,
that's
like
different. That's,
like when we say people are evil for their words.
Oh, well, that they're entitled to their words in this country, so it doesn't matter if they're.
Yeah, but like if they never do a thing to harm people, like words can't harm people.
No, there's a clear
how people receive them.
Yeah, no, there has to be a clear distinction between discomfort and actual harm. You can't.
I think he makes people uncomfortable, and I think like
100%.
And I think because of that discomfort, in a weird way, like it allows people to talk about the stuff that we haven't talked about for a long time. And it opens it up a little bit. Like, so what I'm saying is like there's almost like a purpose, like it in the universe, for somebody like him to be in the space to just, even if he's just inciting a conversation where it's like, well, what don't you like about him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
because then you can start figuring like people who have disagreements can actually come to an agreement on like, yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit for this. He's kind of a piece of shit for that. But I do agree with this and I do agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you right now.
Sure.
And look, I push back on that a little bit just because I was like, because like he's not just like some dude on a street corner with a fucking megaphone.
No, of course not.
I'll tell you one thing again, I agree with him with.
I definitely agree on some of his points.
America first.
Yeah, I definitely agree on a large amount of his points. I just, in my opinion, I view some of his methods of doing so as distasteful. That's just on me.
It turns my viewership off. But I want to go back to the discomfort versus harm, because this is actually something I was very recently talking about when it comes to universities.
We having fun yet?
Oh, I'm loving it.
loving it. But when we go back to universities inherently believe that turning point chapters, which especially is a big reason as to why the University of Scranton is yet to have one, and a failed bid back in 2019, is because,
I still can't believe that.
Because it's inherently controversial and divisive. And people like Nick Fuentes don't add fuel to that flame.
He's not part of the group.
No, but it adds fuel to the flame that right-wing groups are inherently controversial and divisive.
Yeah, but there's nobody more controversial than Trump.
100 again, but that fuel to the flame, inherently believed by higher education. So the professors and the student body government of a university, the University of Scranton, have to approve a turning point chapter. So first it gets approved by, the coordinator of clubs. Then it goes through the proper paperwork. They have to get a certain amount of members. They have to build a board, which at the current pace they've done. And then they have to go to a student body government hearing where they have to give their pitch, and the student body government has to ask them questions and then ultimately approve or deny them. Back in 2019, they denied them. Now they're up for a bid back, hopefully at the end of next month, if not March. But then after that, then the officials at the school, the faculty have to approve it. It's a process. The why is because Turning Point is inherently seen as both controversial and divisive, because any group that challenges the status quo, going back to our first conversation from earlier, is not in line with what the higher education's plans for the curriculum and for the learning experience for a lot of their students. They're not stupid people. That's why I said I think a lot of this is done intentionally, because if you talk to any of these people and hold a conversation, some of the smartest people, the professor that we talked about that we vehemently disagree with, she You can hold a real conversation about policy, and it's very substantive. She's knows her knowledge. So that's why I think when we talk about,
but just having the connection of like Trump or Charlie or anything is the thing that makes people. It's like poisoning the well.
It's poisoning the well, and that what that does is it stops debate and dialogue. And when you stop debate and dialogue, and you end the fact that we cannot have civil discourse on America's campuses, which is supposed to be
the place for it.
You're going to lead with the invention of social media, all these factors, you're going to lead to people like Nick Fuentes and people like, Myron Gaines.
You don't like Myron either?
No, I actually like Myron a lot more than I like Nick Fuentes. He introduced me to Myron. That's why. Yeah. I had no idea who he was. But those people are, because they have not been allowed to participate.
Well, they've been outsiders. They've been ostracized by everything.
And that boils it back down.
Well,
society leads them down this path.
So like what I was saying is like, I was pushing back on it hard because when you start taking smart people that you don't agree with and you ostracize them, you radicalize them.
Right.
For sure.
I could give you an example of someone in the community that is turned into
me?
No, not you. A friend of ours. I'll leave his name out of it. But
here's what I would say about Nick Fuentes again, though. I think the problem.
I didn't want to harp this long on him, but
no, for sure. But I think
I'm fine with it.
I think the analogy I want to make is it's almost in a way giving ammo to the other team, in a way. And what I mean by that is,
you think he messes up.
Here's what I'm saying, right?
The goodwill.
I love the ability to speak freely. I think that's a wonderful thing. However, you and I both know as realists that there's it's two teams. It's like going to war in a way, right? There's strategy behind a political campaign, and that's how you win, is the strategy. Mm-hmm. So now let's compare this to war. Imagine Nick Fuentes was in the army and we were all in the army and we planned tomorrow we're going to do a strike on this place. And Nick Fuentes, although he's part of the mission and wants to help the mission, decides I'm going to be a solo raider and I'm going to go out in the middle of the night and bomb the place, right? And then he blows our cover. And they know we're coming from now because he went ahead of the plan. That's where I feel like it's like when you're a political person, you have the political spotlight, you have to understand that sometimes what you do is important and impacts the strategy of the entire movement. So I think you have responsibility in that way. And I think if you want to be someone who wants to step up and represent something, you have to acknowledge that, hey, I might have to sometimes, hold back on some of my freedoms because for the greater good, for the plan, I don't want to give ammunition to the other team.
Isn't it weird that on the other side?
Because they use the stuff he says.
Yeah, but isn't it weird on the other side of that equation that you're talking about, the whatever the other side is like they kind of lean into their Fuentes types?
Like
the most extreme of them are the ones that get like the most Hassan Piker.
Yeah.
That's Cenk's nephew or something from the Young Turks.
Yeah.
But why is it that the conservative movement would try to protect itself from somebody of the likes of like Nick Fuentes? Because it's like a yin yang, right? Each side has their own thing.
Why would they protect them?
Because there's a double standard.
No. Listen to me. So why would it be that like on the conservative side, I don't even know if like Nick's probably less of a traditional like Republican. He's probably more of, kind of like a, like a radical. Like he really likes like the 1776 shit. But like, why is it like
a revolutionary?
So why is it that on like the conservative side, somebody like Nick Fuentes or Myron or Sneeko where everybody's kind of like, yeah, we don't want to like.
I'll tell you why.
But on the left side, the craziest of the crazies, where the left is like, let's bring them in.
I'll tell you why. It's also because conservatives don't nitpick and pull at strings. They don't have much against us, right? So they pull at strings and try to find any little crack they could find. And he's giving them those cracks. Like he's giving them the like, oh, well, you could get us on this. You could pull up this clip where I was really racist.
Nick Fuentes.
That's what I'm saying. It ruins the strategy of the entire movement.
So it's guilty by association. 100%, in their eyes.
Because it's
guilty by association. That's exactly
what it is. Paints a picture. Mitch McConnell said that he doesn't think that Nick Fuentes should not have a First Amendment right to speech. They'll twist that. Mitch McConnell supports what Nick Fuentes is doing.
Yeah.
But on the other side of thing, if Hakeem Jeffries came out tomorrow and denounced Hassan Piker, which would never happen.
Might they eat their own every now and again?
The guy shocked his dog on live streaming, and nothing. It was a Twitter story.
There's a lot of people at home who are like, when they watch that, they're like don't lie.
But then why'd you lie about it? Like everyone does it. If you're
because you know it, because they're afraid of the truth. They're afraid of the backlash of the shitty thing that they did.
But that's what I'm saying is it's all relative, because again, I love the freedom of speech. I think it's the greatest thing on the planet, right?
It is.
But when you are part of a team and part of a movement and part of a strategic operation, sometimes you have to fall into the plan.
Yeah, but the team pushed him away.
Well, I think that was on his own doing, though.
It could be.
But that's why I have a problem with Nick Fuentes, because it's not like he started off normally and was just saying normal things and wasn't saying anything controversial and gained traction. Yeah, but I feel like he always had sprinkled undertones.
He always did.
At the beginning, like, did you ever hear his origin story? It's pretty interesting how like Ben Shapiro went after him and all this stuff and tried to like screw, like, he was just a college kid.
Well, Ben Shapiro,
he wasn't even making money.
For sure, a college kid that was against the Jews, which Ben Shapiro is.
For sure, but think about it. Nick Fuentes was never as popular as he is now, and it's because of his controversial things. Most people find Nick Fuentes. I have a buddy. He's like, I love this guy, and it's because he thinks his clips of him being racist online are hilarious. And it's like, sure, that's fun entertainment. I don't care about that. But you'll have liberals who are trying to find something to pick at the Republican Party, and then they say, oh, here, connect this to this, connect it there. Now we have a story.
And
that's bad.
Yeah, but what happens if he's a Nazi? You're a Nazi.
What happens if you like? And I'm just
like how we're Nazis.
And I'm just like postulating this out loud. Like what happens instead of like what happens if you just like lean into it?
If you lean into it,
like it's like, yeah, outcomes. You know what? He like some of his ideas are good, some of it's crazy. One, I don't approve. Like, and like if you like, because if you act like, oh, it's like a third rail,
I think a lot of people
they're gonna get you on.
But I think a lot of people do though, because even me, I lean into it. Like I'll
I think Vance said he was a piece of shit or something like that, but it wasn't like he didn't like go like above and beyond about it.
But that's what I'm saying. You could denounce his strategy while still saying, well, you know, he's right here and there, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
You can say that the core of the argument is fine. It's how it's presented, and it's the evidence that's used, and where it's like a detective's board where the strings are being connected to.
Yeah, it's like the whole like
that's where I disagree most, is where he draws the conclusions from. But we boil it, and again, this was back to the argument at the beginning when you said even the left, they're mad about the same ideas. Yeah, but we all go about it in a different way. We all have that way that we think would be the solving problem, that would end it, and that we would get praise and pats on the back. But that's just our opinion. That's what we think based on the set of knowledge, the knowledge that we have, and the set of values that we share.
Is there a right way forward, or are we like heading toward total destruction?
We're not heading towards total destruction. I wouldn't believe that, because I always am the optimist. I think that there's still so many good people that are not just good people, but share good faith and have great values that make them both great people in the community, but also great for a capitalist system. I think that we are definitely
like, how does this survive? How does this move forward?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that
I'll give you my answer after. Go ahead.
I really do think that we were close. This country was very closer than people.
If Charlie didn't die, I think we'd be in a much different place right now.
Absolutely, but I think
bad or worse. I mean, good or worse.
Better.
Yeah.
I think we were so close with the Trump getting reelected into office. I think we were so close to a complete point of no return than people even realize. Like, genuinely, I think that a Kamala Harris regime could have been catastrophic.
Regime, we say like it's an
I think a Kamala Harris administration
might have been.
Yeah, but I think that would have put us past the point of no return, because it's even like Venezuela, right? What did it take? Was it 2 regime changes for them to completely fall into mayhem? It was only
it wasn't even that.
It was Hugo Chavez that came in and took over.
I know, but I'm saying that was only 2 regimes, and it fell that hard.
It went from Chavez to Maduro, I think.
Yeah, but Chavez had it.
But that was like a continuation.
Yeah,
it was like you changed managers
I
at
see what the point
McDonald's.
you're trying to say.
The point I'm saying is it doesn't take 30 regimes.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Just takes one.
It takes one.
So
that's what I'm saying. That's how close we were.
Let's go back.
And we were on our second change already. We went from Biden to Harris. We were going from Biden to Harris. That would have been and I think that would have put us
you're right
overboard.
about that, but let's go back a second. How does this survive is a great question. And it's not one uniform answer. I can give you my answer of how I think Turning Point, the organization Turning Point, and the ideals it stands for moves on. He can give you another. You can ask every single member of our coalition, our board members. They might give you all different answers. You might get 30 different ones. But here's the answer I'd give. The most important value of Turning Point isn't Christianity. It isn't anything to do with conservatism. It's the idea of having a topic that you want to talk about in a manner in which you can remain respectful, but you can disagree and continue to learn from both different perspectives and learn from different people how to see something.
So it's more about keeping the conversation going?
100%. It is the vital organ of our group, of I think any Turning Point group, is the conversation aspect, because when we lose that, which we unfortunately pretty much already have on college campuses, if not for Turning Point USA chapters and other more...
That's crazy that there's no discourse.
There's none.
Yeah.
There's none.
If the conservative movement was a town, right? Turning Point would be the beacon in the middle, the beacon of hope, right? For civil dialect. That's what it is.
So it's literally the town square where it's like everybody at different.
Square. It's the town square, right? The conservative movement is sure it includes that, but Turning Point is first and foremost the vessel in which people could say, okay, this is the hope. This is the thing that's potentially going to get us to a point where civil dialogue is around.
And it's not just the name Turning Point. It's actually what it stands for. So you can break it down, and I can cover this actually. And it's more so about what do you like? What do you care about? What motivates you? And I can tell you
understanding.
Right. And I can tell you what motivates me is, I want the same opportunity, economic opportunity as everyone else to pursue my version of the American dream. But I can't tell you that unless I have the opportunity to share a conversation with you and talk about how do we get there. And that's what Charlie did so well. And unfortunately, so many other groups don't do well. Not grassroots. I'm just saying in general. It's a generalization. But it's just having conversation, because if you don't do that, like I said, you lose. And you not only do you lose your identity, but you lose the trust in the people in this nation to truly represent them, right? We're not elected officials that hold public office, but we work in the public sector. We work, with people. And we work helping people get registered to vote, absentee ballots, mail-in votes, getting them to events, to engage again. And, to back up, it might not be public service, but we work with the public is what I was trying to say. But it's the only way we can get that done is if we can say, hey, you want to have a conversation about this? We're not afraid to. And unfortunately, in our day and age with social media and with all of the potential outcomes academically and socially, it's very hard for young conservatives to feel motivated to go out of their way to go speak about a range of topics with people that share similar values. Why do that? Why, when you can face academic repercussions? Because if it's on campus and your teacher's there, they might see that you're a conservative and be like, well, I don't want to give them a good grade. Their participation grade's going to go down, which is something that in my school, at least, I know professors have a lot of power over. They can change, your participation grade. And unfortunately for me...
Really?
Oh, yeah. And unfortunately for me, I have lost a lot of points in participation because of my ability to push back on, topics and discuss.
They just think you're indignant?
Yeah. They think I'm disrespectful a lot of the time, too. Even though I always remain respectful when I'm discussing any topics with elders. But going back to the key of this is, again, if we don't have the conversation aspect and we don't get people into a room just so that they can hear a different point of view, we've lost it. people are just going to be listening to what they're told.
I think people. It's weird. Like I think you can get people in the room. It's just some of them don't want to. A lot of them don't want to go in the room because they think it's full of fart gas. Like it's
So
like they think
it's your job
they don't want to get in there.
It's your job to convince them that this is a place where everyone's accepted.
Tell me about Election Day this past year, because I saw you guys had a tent over at Scranton High School, and I saw some things that I thought were pretty outrageous.
Yeah, you want me to?
You start. You start.
Well, first off, I want to just say a huge thank you to all of our members that helped us out on that day. That was one of our first events. We'd started back in October of 25. Of 25.
We don't have to go through all this shit.
But
what happened that day?
we were just handing out American flags and also helping people make sure that they knew which ballot box to go to.
Which precinct?
And precinct, right.
Yeah.
And
there's 8 different ones, by the way.
At Scranton High School.
It gets very confusing, and people get, it backs things up. So
and we're just handing out flags, and we got a lot of disgusting looks from people to start. We were, just handing out American flags. Hey, do you want a flag? Not from you. Or not from nothing from you. I would never listen to.
Because it said Turning Point, right?
Or my favorite one. Oh no! Literally, only our tent said Turning Point.
Only not the flag.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. The tent said Turning Point.
Yeah, and we weren't even pushing any views or anything like that. We were just there to help them with the polling districts, and we were just.
Yeah, because I saw you guys. Do you know where you're supposed to vote?
Yeah, literally. My favorite line: "Why would I want an American flag? I hate this country."
Yeah, yep, that was the best one. The worst one, that was the best one because it was just ironic.
But yet they're there to vote.
Yeah, but they're there to vote, right, and participate in their civic duty. I'm probably voting for the liberal on the ballot, but who knows?
What gave it away?
The blue hair. Or maybe the hatred of America. I don't stand with ICE shirt. I don't know. Something like that is what gave it away. But the worst is we had an individual that told us that we were talking out of our throats. Yeah, so
a lot of people walked by and did this.
Yeah, did this, and he did that. The same guy did it. The same guy said did this.
I saw a steady flow of people, adults, being pieces of shit to you guys. Yeah, at that tent.
And you know what? We're probably. I mean, there's one other.
And you were nothing but kind. I mean,
of course.
The more egregious stuff. There was a snide, smart ass comment back, maybe once or twice. But
well, the thing about it is we have to defend for our members, because sometimes these people get out of hand. And I mean, it's me, Rob, and then we have another board member he's just fantastic, Dylan. I hope he's watching, but
he will be.
He will be.
Hi, Dylan.
But. Anyways, we're the 3 oldest, and we're young ourselves. So these are grown adults going and doing that to some of them teenagers. We have young members, and that's disgusting. You're basically threatening a 19-year-old.
I mean, they were. It wasn't basically.
It wasn't
you're threatening 18, 19-year-olds.
One woman said, "I hope you guys fuck off. I hope you die."
Kids people grabbing our flyers, ripping them up.
Do you know what the worst? Actually, the worst thing, I just remembered this. The worst thing is there's a little girl, Spanish or of Mexican descent, little girl, and she wants a flag. She's reaching out. She's got to be no older than 3. Enough that your mom's carrying you, and the mother's carrying, and she's going to reach for the flag, and I'm going to go give it to her. And the mom's like, "Absolutely not. We will not take a flag from you." And the kid starts crying. And she's okay with it because of the fact that I'm from this group. And that to me was the starkest thing. I was like, we have to keep doing this. That was what I thought when that happened. I'm like, we have to keep doing this.
I mean, think about
because
that, though.
That kid might grow up someday and say, I love Turning Point. She might grow up someday and say, I hate Turning Point. But that's something that sticks with us forever. A little girl just wants an American flag, and we can't hand those out.
And that's not even a polarizing thing. That is simply basically teaching your newborn child, to hate the country that they are a part of, right in the beginning of their life,
or hate people, love this country,
that love this country, or people that are part of different groups. This person is different than you. You have to hate them.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
The party of inclusion,
right? That's crazy.
Yeah, this is a big reason why, unfortunately, we have to be very careful with our events, because obviously...
Are you afraid?
No.
Is there... Yeah, you know what I mean? Where we've
had security at events for potential threats. A lot of these people, they talk a lot of talk and they have a strong bark, but when it comes down to it, they're we feel as if we're in pretty good hands and we're
but
safe.
I ain't afraid. I'm ready. Like, I hate to say it, but if I had to die tomorrow for the cause, it's gonna happen because
well, nobody should die to hand out American flags,
of course. But I'm saying, like,
pick your battles better, Rob.
Really should, right? But I'm saying is I'm not afraid.
What do you mean I can't get a gordita? Fucking shoot me. Oh shit! Keep going. We lost you. I lost the one camera.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
As Turning Point members, we cannot do what the idea you just said was that I'm
Why?
not going to repeat. We do not believe in that.
You don't believe in earth medicines?
No, we believe in that. We just don't believe in an illegal state like Pennsylvania. That is.
Well, you should get a bit more libertarian in your views, my friend.
Well, maybe I am. Maybe I'm not.
If you can grow it, and God made it for you.
I do believe that, but I do abide by.
Do you think God made?
Do
you think God made a thing that you can grow naturally that you shouldn't do? Am I setting you up?
Oh man, this is like part where they're like, he can't run for president. He's done. He's
Why?
Because I'm talking.
What was the joke about? So Bill Clinton said he never inhaled, and then I think
never inhaled.
Yeah, I think, but it was George Bush. I think somebody once said he never exhaled.
Yeah,
just kept it in.
That's a good one. I actually never heard that.
Yeah.
That's funny,
man.
So you were saying about because what does this mean for the future? I mean, Turning Point. There's weird stuff going on publicly and privately.
Yeah,
and I think at least when Charlie was around, it was the thing that sucks about like. It's almost like, did you ever hear the Doolittle raid in World War II? Mm-hmm. You've heard of that?
Can you fill me in on it?
So the Doolittle raid was after they attacked Pearl Harbor. Have you ever watched the movie Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck?
Yes.
That's the one at the end where they go into bomb Tokyo.
Okay.
And the line is like, it wasn't much damage, but it was a piercing, it was a needle in the middle of their heart. And it seems like what happened with Charlie and Turning Point was almost like the Doolittle raid, where it was like, if you want to do something to like really screw up whatever positive momentum was moving forward, because I think Charlie was definitely a positive force for good.
Oh, 100%.
It was a structural blow.
But I don't think it's.
But do you think it was the structure, or do you think it was?
I think it was the main pillar that's holding most of the weight. I think it's going to take a lot of time for them to come back from it fully.
Well, now there's a lot of distrust too.
I think that yes, you were right. It's the main pillar, but I think the house is still standing. I know that there's a lot of rumors about the financial side of things, which definitely is interesting. It's interesting.
Nobody's really going to pay attention to that. They're just going to read the headline or the post and say the thing.
But the people that are involved will be paying attention to the finer details, especially, us will be paying attention because we started with Turning Point after Charlie's death. So we didn't know what it's like working with Turning Point with Charlie, which is a very unfortunate thing that it took.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate that it took that type of event to get us to at least start this. And that's kind of the catalyst of it all. Is it shouldn't take an event that is traumatic, going back to the trauma, right? That's traumatic for people to see and hear, to say, oh, well, we gotta get involved. So to answer your question, how does this go on in the future? It takes more people being courageous like us that listen to not just a wide variety of opinions, but listens to people that don't just preach about what's wrong, preach about what's right. So like, what's right? First thing I think of whenever I think of what's right, well, we live in the greatest country to have ever existed. I don't think that's a point that anybody can dispute. There's no other country.
There's a lot of people who will try to dispute that.
Sure, but without evidence. The evidence to support.
It's more of a feeling.
Yeah, the evidence to support my claim, though, which is actual evidence, is that it is the freest country to have ever existed, where you have the most amount of freedoms, where you're able to achieve whatever you'd like in an economic way.
Most amount of opportunity.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Hamilton or Jefferson or somebody that says that the reason why they went with capitalism because it was the most equitable? It gave everybody at least the most opportunity to better their stars.
For sure. For sure. I don't know. Was that Hamilton or who was that?
I'm not
I'm
too
just
sure.
guessing. I
not-
thought I knew somebody said it. I just don't know exactly
Right,
who said it.
Right.
One of the founding fathers. But yeah, it's a very vital point to talk about is, when we have all of these different factors at play, what's the one that should rise above it? Well, we have something in this country that I think no other country in history can say. We have a government that, while it has its faults, I wouldn't take any other system of government. I think
I would like to get rid of the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse. I would love that.
of course, I would be the happiest person in the world if they could root out every single bit of fraud and corruption and abuse in just the last 25 years. I would be as happy as a clam. But I don't think it's possible for them to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to sometimes
Elon couldn't do
acknowledge.
it.
You have to sometimes acknowledge that some things are just out of the scope of reality, and when those things are, you have to say, okay, well, what could we not necessarily settle with, but what is a realistic,
Like, what's the compromise?
yeah, what's the compromise that we have to land on? And I feel like in terms of our system of government, although yeah, you do have corruption and stuff, I think it is, out of all the systems we've seen, the best option.
It's not just the best option, but it's the best way for individual freedoms and equality to
right. Well, of course,
persevere.
when I say best option, that would be saying there's a hypothetical system we're unaware about that completely keeps corruption out, but we know that that's not possible. So we have
the reason why I'm a huge free speech guy is not about the ability to say things. Like, obviously, I think everybody should say whatever they want.
Sure.
But I don't think a government should be able, or anybody should be able to penetrate your mind. Like, that's the free speech thing that comes from me. Like, you can't force me to think certain things and force me to do certain
Who
things.
gives you those liberties, though? Right? That's the point. That's the great
The
question.
Constitution.
Who gives the Constitution the opportunity?
Oh, you're going to play this game with me?
Yes, I
Man
am.
or God?
It's God.
Well, and if you don't believe in God, man did it. And man is over government.
And I'm of the belief that God gives you the right to have freedom of speech because God gave them, the power.
But that's what was different. That's what was different because everyone else, you were forced to be a Protestant, you were forced to be a whatever, and in America
they just
it was
said freedom
about,
of religion.
yeah, but that. But that's not really like the freedom is. If you really look at the freedom of speech thing, this is why I have such like a fucking issue with all this stuff, like about people lying, because I think it fucks with your ability to critically think because they're flooding the zone with all these things that you don't know if it's true. Like the communists do that. Like in China, if somebody's starting to figure something out, they just flood the zone with mass information.
Absolutely. And that's where people have to use that's where people have to use what like the freedoms they have to be able to go and do the research on their own and make their own interpretation of it.
Yeah, people forgot that it's up to the individual to make up their own mind.
Right. Like they think, oh, it's just whatever the news says is true. No, you have the freedom to look past that. And it's not like we're in some other country where there's no other source of media. They take every single source of media off that says something else. You could readily find this information. Sure, you might have to look a little harder to find a true conservative view, but you could do it. Like if you want to, you could go look and find out for your own. And honestly, that's what people have to start doing. I'm not saying not to watch the news, but people have to rely more on independent.
I would say that.
Yeah.
I would also say that.
But I think, there are some benefits to, looking at just to know what's going on, like in general. But I think if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of it and actually come to your own solution, you can't look at the news. You have to go into your own sources and find your own experiences.
Live, laugh, love.
Well, no, it's Kim Jong-un, so it's supposed to be Riv, Raff, Ruv. My wife got me that.
I like that.
She got it to me because she saw it and started laughing so hard.
Yep.
She's like, look how happy he is.
He is happy.
Where did she
He's
find
very
that?
happy.
Amazon.
Wow.
He's smoking a cigarette.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah.
And that's a US
And then
tanker,
behind
right?
behind him is some sort of nuclear submarine.
Yeah, it looks like a U.S. nuclear
What is he holding?
I don't know. Probably
A bomb.
yeah, probably some sort of self-destruct button.
radiation.
Yeah.
containment.
Like these people, like
Dang, what a beautiful picture.
it's funny. I think it's funny when people come in here like for the first time. They look at that thing and they're like, "What the fuck?"
I think it's great.
And I'm like, look, it's a
That's
joke.
something you would have on a frat wall.
Yeah, I have a lot of joke stuff here. I have Alex Jones conspiracy bourbon. I have when oranges become apples, which is it's a doctor I had on here, which is about vitamin C therapy to fight cancer. Like all this stuff over here has something to do with like guests or whatever.
We were doing a presentation by one poli sci
See, wait,
class.
grab that one. See that flag? The flag on the table there.
Over here?
Yeah, behind the blue hat. Like make America terrible again. Right? Grab that flag.
This one?
Yeah. So did you ever see the peacetime American flag? It's pink and it's white.
No.
Oh, wow, really?
You never saw it?
No.
Here, look it up. Everybody should hang that because America's never been at peace. So that's in there because I was debating about hanging it up there, but then I'd have to explain that too. Kim Jong-un's kind of like easier to explain.
Oh, wow, I do see that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Peacetime flag.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what I was going to say is...
if Trump went to that flag, would liberals still say that we're at war? I don't believe that flag.
You know what? It's really fascinating that if you look at like the history of nations in the world, how important flags are.
Yes.
There's a lot to be said for a flag.
There's symbolic meaning behind it. It describes the era.
The United States flag with the gold means a different thing than without the gold, and how you hang it, and there's all these different things. It comes from that's a longer story. So we're gonna have to wrap it up because we're like, I'm trying to keep it at like 2.5.
I think we're close.
I did one with a guy who we went 3:45 because he was in jail.
Oh my!
He's coming back on Monday.
He had a few years worth of discussion.
He's a hardcore American and he wouldn't pay a $400 fine, so he spent 4 months in jail.
That is the most American thing I've ever heard.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a badass.
What was the $400 fine for?
Parking ticket.
No. He was fighting school boards.
Wow.
So he was questioning school boards. He learned his rights. He learned how to speak their words. Like I saw. Did you ever hear State Rep Jamie Walsh?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jamie Walsh did a podcast here, like I don't know, like a year and a half ago, and
he was recently on, right?
Yeah.
I just watched that.
He might want to come on again. I don't know.
Of course.
So he said, I was supposed to go to a school board meeting for the Scranton School District, and I was supposed to meet somebody there. And he goes, what are you doing after this? I said, I'm going to go to a school board meeting. He goes, I love school board meetings, right? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, but so we got there and he looked at the agenda. And I think he just wanted to start shit. And I met the person I met there, and I introduced them. And then Jamie looks at me and he goes, this is illegal. And I said, yeah, but you're a resident down in Luzerne County and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I can speak. And I went, they're not going to let you. So he gets up and he goes up to the podium and he starts speaking. And they're like, where are you from? And he's like, oh, I'm from down here. They're like, well, you can't. He's like, well, and then he said all this stuff. Well, according to blah, 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 and blah, 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 I have every right to speak because I'm trying to help you and blah, blah, blah. And the solicitor kind of looked around the table, was like, yeah, he could speak.
Wait, so is this the one that went to jail?
No.
This is
Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Walsh is
okay.
Jamie Walsh is state rep. The other guy went to jail.
What did they get him on?
The guy that went to jail?
Yeah, what was the charge?
Trespassing.
Oh, no way. That's ridiculous.
They illegally trespassed him.
From a public school though? Like
from a public meeting. His kids went to that school. So he went to go to a lunch.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
absurd.
It's crazy.
That's absurd.
I've done like 3 podcasts with him. He's great.
Is he countersuing?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any legal actions?
He knows the America stuff in and out. He knows all the stuff about like birth certificates, naval. He knows like where your trust is for your money for the federal. It's crazy. Like it's a really foreign concept if you're not familiar with it. And it took me like weeks to start grasping what he was talking about. Like the first time I had him on, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
So you needed those extra hours then with them, just to understand the basics
then there was hours of phone calls afterwards because I'm like, what the fuck do you mean by this? What is this?
That's so interesting.
And it's like as close as you can be to like a sovereign. He's like looking into like the sovereign. Like he had a guy come on here. He goes, I'm going to show up with my friend. I said, okay. And the guy sat down. I think his name was Dave. I said, what's your story, Dave? He's like, well, I haven't paid federal taxes in 35 years.
Nuts.
And I was like, how'd you do that? And he goes through and they explain it all in this way where it's like the courts, like it's basically what they're describing is like how things have gotten polluted since the inception of America. Mm-hmm. Like how the court systems have become some sort of subjugation thing, how like lawyers and all that you'd really be interested in it because of like the bar.
Yeah.
Like they go into all that stuff. Like at the beginning of America, they wouldn't allow lawyers in Georgia because it was all about like common law and things like that, where it's like, unless there's person or property,
Sure.
like there's no infraction. So like if your goat came over and ate my bushes, we would have to find remedy with that, or else we would get like a jury of our peers, which is just like 10 people from around you.
Oh,
and if we
wow.
can't figure it out there, then we would get a magistrate, and the magistrate would help us figure it out. And there was no further than that.
Wow,
There was
that's
no
really
need. There was no
interesting.
need for the courts. There
The
was no need.
evolution of the judicial system in this country is something that I feel
It's
like
made.
we could talk hours
It's
about.
made to put the boot on our neck.
Wait, what you had what were they? The night watchers or whatever? The guys that would just stand out, the drunkards sitting out and watch for crime and then ring the bell.
Where back in the day,
Bad way, but yeah, the first like form of
narcs.
just rats, yeah, narcs, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, but that's usually in cities. But like, it was for just basically like simple human decency, because it boiled down to person or property. Did you harm my person or did you harm my property? If you did, what's the remedy?
Yep.
That's it. It boils down to just those simple things.
A lot of arbitration and negotiation.
People today do not know the law.
No.
They don't know what their rights are. They don't. That's why you see all the guys who were at the DUI checkpoints and they just start fighting with the cops, and it's like, yeah, they're probably right. Like they're probably like, this is illegal. I don't need a driver's license. Technically, you don't need a driver's license unless you're performing commerce. It's crazy.
Which is why I think it's even more dangerous, the fact that Gavin Newsom just handed those out like candies to illegal immigrants, because
the CDLs?
because they are driving commercial,
I don't know how people like Gavin Newsom or Tim Walz or Hochul or who's the one in Michigan?
Keith Ellison.
No, that's the AG of Minnesota.
Yeah, you said Waltz.
Yeah, but Michigan, not Minnesota.
Oh, Michigan. Oh my God.
Yeah, who's the girl? Gretchen Whitmer.
Oh my God.
I mean,
heard Minnesota, it's been too
you
long.
think that like one day people will know I made this bad decision. Something will happen to let the world know I made this bad decision.
It's like even Gavin Newsom. It's like, how could he still have supporters? He's been promising the same thing since the beginning of his political career, and it's never and like none of it's ever came into fruition.
Because of the cities. That's it.
It's nuts.
The cities vote.
I know. I just like, how could you keep voting for that and be like, wow, he had like not be like how
how much better do you think the state of Pennsylvania would be if Philadelphia wasn't allowed to vote?
18 times better.
a lot of, yeah.
Or not allowed, not allowed to vote, but like, what if it didn't
vote.
exist?
Like not part of.
They didn't
PA.
vote blue.
Yeah, what if it wasn't?
I think it would be a lot different. I really do.
Republicans would win pretty much every election then. If
I have, at the end of the day, I have no problem. Like, there are surprisingly a few local elected Democrats who I really, really like.
Oh yeah, of course.
Local Democrats are much different than national or federal government.
Yeah, you just
Democrats.
can't, like, the local ones can't give, like, when they start playing national politics locally, that's when you lose people.
Well, because it's starting to run for a promotion.
Yeah, that's what we have.
That's
with,
where it becomes a problem. You don't care about
Page.
the area anymore.
Portland Page, great example of that. She's someone that
I gotta say, like, ideologically, we differ, right? But like, I'm getting tired of the divisiveness. I'm getting tired of like the fucking rhino, all that shit. I think we need to talk to each other. I think we need to stop. This is just my opinion. I think we need to stop this whole like, fuck them because they're on the other team.
So let's have a conversation. That's what our group's all about.
I'd love to. And you know what? As long as like, I always used to tell people, as long as you're a nice person, the world will figure out who the assholes are.
Yes.
And I think that there's a lot of, I don't think it's a right versus left issue. It's like the whole meme where it's like the elites are up top laughing because it's like, you guys are fighting.
Well, that's why we can't find a solution, because it's become such a culture in which it either is right or left. You know what I mean? And we completely forget that there is that middle ground. And when you take out that middle ground, you lose most of the solutions.
I think you're right earlier about like how it's orchestrated, like to like once you just start siloing people more into their corners, nobody wants to come to the dance floor and talk.
Why do you think they put so much time and energy into this over the last 20 years, specifically since Obama took office?
Rob, not to fucking break your bubble.
Yeah,
this has been going on forever.
Yep, here we go. Yeah. I know. I'm trying to
maybe in your lifetime, but like
I'm trying to play the recency
you have
bias.
to look at the time lapse.
Yeah.
I always tell people this is like, You could look at a photo of Yosemite with the clouds. It's a lot different when it's a time lapse over time, because then you could see like the air currents, you could see the physics of like where it's moving, you could see all these different things. So you can't like just look at it as a snapshot. You have to look at it as like this time lapse.
Right. I mean, there's no doubt that these problems have always been around. But the thing that I think
just found a way to ramp them up.
Yeah, but I think the thing that's new about it is not even the ramp up. It's so blatantly obvious now. Like it's almost as if they're throwing it in your face at this point. Like for instance, you'll have Obama come out and start saying all this crap on Tom Homan when everyone has pictures of him giving him awards.
Dude, like the Medal of Freedom.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's so blatantly obvious now. It's like I just don't.
Wait, were you wrong then or now? At which point were you wrong?
Right.
Are you wrong when you gave him the medal?
Yeah, one of them you were.
Or are you wrong now after you gave him the medal?
He would argue.
I think most people logically could say, well, if you're saying that you were right only when you were the one getting the credit and wrong when you weren't, or you were right both times, but it only benefited you when you were getting the credit, then you could say, well, I think there's something behind it.
I think the largest political party in this country is independent. Nobody's talking about them. You know, I always looked at the parties as like the Democrats were like, we could go to the center of the universe. And the Republicans were always like, the moon will do.
Yeah.
You know, like we're getting along with your direction that you're going, but like, let's keep let's maintain expectations here.
Right.
Like, and that was always like the fight between both of them is like the Democrats wanted to go fucking batshit crazy.
Right.
And the Republicans were always like the compromisers.
Isn't that how it's still going? I mean, look at the...
No, not anymore. Now it's just fuck you.
You sure about that? You look at the Senate here. I'm stuttering over my words. What the Senate just did yesterday, they approved 5 out of the 6 funding bills with the stopgap funding bill for DHS for 2 weeks because the Republicans compromised so that they would avoid a government shutdown.
But okay, so
they're still compromising.
If you look at the math of that, right? If you every issue compromise a half a millimeter, like 40 issues later, you've moved 20 millimeters and you don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why now it's like, I mean, look, most of the Democrat Republicans, this is a great documentary with Matt Gaetz on HBO, and like AOC's in it, and I think Ro Khanna.
You told me about this.
Yeah, they go have lunch together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like most of them do. Like they do this performative fucking theater shit on the news, and then they go get an egg salad sandwich together.
There's only one person, and he's not even...
I don't talk shit on my friends in front of a camera.
No, of course.
You know, I think that's fucked.
There's one person in Congress. I love him. His name's Tim
Massey?
Burchett. No.
I love Massey and Burchett.
You love Massey. I'm big Tim Burchett
Burchett's
guy.
great. He makes skateboards.
Yep. And he does a great... Every time there's a vote on the floor, he'll do a little video of him leaving the Capitol and talk about it. He's a good friend of Pramila Jayapal, who's one of the more crazy... She's not part of the squad, but she's definitely one of the more crazy progressive congresswomen that they have. She's from Washington.
Yeah, but she probably talks shit when he walks out of the room.
And he probably talks shit when she walks out of the room.
Maybe not. You know,
guaranteed.
Look, Burchett's the only one who's been like, he's like, yo, there's bases underwater that UFOs go into. We can't explain it.
I fucking love him. He's just so crazy. But
he talks just like that. He's like, there's things that we don't know, and dadgummit,
we paid $50 million for mice to have transgender sex.
I made these We're still spending $40 million a week on the Taliban, and I've been trying to get this done for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Like 20 years I've been trying to do like whatever. But he's he's one of those guys that like, he's a nice guy.
He's
like you can really just be a nice person. It's not hard. It's more difficult to be a piece of shit.
Not at all. And
you have to try a lot more effort in it for sure.
To be a nice person or be a piece of shit?
Yeah.
Not only is he nice, but he's so intelligent. He knows what he's talking about, and he's actually truly is one of the last few representatives of his constituents.
Yeah, do you give Massey any credit for anything?
You know,
Massey's great.
Yeah, you know, I'm not the biggest Massey fan, but I'll give him credit that he does represent his constituents, because the way he is exactly how the people who vote for him are. That's the thing with Massey.
MIT graduate, lives off the grid, has no dependence on anything. And
very admirable. I'll give him that, but I do.
And Trump hates him.
I disagree with him on policy. Yes.
I'm telling you what, Massey. I think Massey's going to cream whoever the opponent is. I think he's going to cream them.
Oh, this is okay. So before we ended, I actually wanted to ask these 2 questions.
Oh, it's my turn.
So yeah,
What do you want to ask me?
So first off, what is your predictions or projections for the 2026 elections?
The midterms?
Yes. Give me your NEPA and then give me your USA.
NEPA, I don't know. I mean, like the truth
Too
is
close
like
to call still?
I really don't know. There's a lot that can happen, and the things that like what they call it an October surprise, not because it happens in March.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm saying we have time.
I think
you were just predicting.
look, I think locally for Congress, I think that I like Rob a lot. I like Rob Bresnahan a lot, and he participated in saving the hospitals, and I think that he's trying to do a lot of good things, but he's also a freshman Congress person, which means that he's
vulnerable.
Sure. And the mayor of Scranton, there's people that absolutely downright loathe her, and there's people that absolutely downright love her. And the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Yep. As with most things.
But the problem that she's going to have is that like she's from a place not here that is like everyone who has a cell phone knows that it's a pretty crazy town of Portland, and they don't want, like, her biggest hurdle is going to be to convince conservatives that she doesn't want to turn that district into Portland. And that was the biggest question that she had for the city of Scranton. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, if you want to believe that, like, and you want to virtue signal to all those things, and you help, like, make people's lives easier, and, like, you're just, without, like, going full into the virtue signal territory, I think you could be a good leader. Like, I think you could be, like, liberals used to be socially liberal, fiscally conservative. Like, those were like the Reagan Democrats.
That was the hallmark.
Or
that was
you know
the
what I mean?
hallmark
Where
of
it's
Democrats,
like, where it's like, yeah, we should help people, and we shouldn't base any of our opinions on what people look like. That included white people.
Yeah.
But once you start focusing on, like, the diversity, then that's all you see is diversity. When you start focusing on the equity, then somebody's going to get screwed on the equitability barometer. And then when you focus on the inclusion stuff, by focusing on it, you're going to exclude people. So it's like, what are you doing? You're like, it's a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we have a good council right now, and, like, you need a council not to, like, go after whoever the mayor is. You need a good council to hold each side responsible. Mm-hmm. So either they can call out the mayor can call out their mistakes, and, hopefully they can go have an egg salad sandwich and figure it out. Nationally, I don't know. I mean, if they pass the SAVE Act and there's not crazy shit attached to it, I think conservative has a good shot.
Yes.
And if Trump doesn't, and, as long as, like,
the economy continues,
as long as you don't
grow.
find out that, like, ICE has or Border Patrol has barns where they're executing people in, which you're not going to find.
No.
Unless that, like, we need to, I think the country has a chance. And the thing that sucks is it's the conservative side that's going to have to kind of acquiesce to the conversation. So because the liberals aren't going to go, like, we should talk.
So what you're saying is the conservatives will need to be the compromisers once again. And
it's always the thing. It's like, if, like, once you dig your heels in, there is no compromise.
Right.
And the problem is that only smart people realize we're in big trouble if we don't talk.
Yep. And then that's how you,
like, and you can agree to disagree, and
olive branch it.
Yep. So I don't know. Nationally, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know.
That's okay.
So that's one question.
It's way too far out. The last question.
Am I gay?
Now I have a third question.
You can answer that one if you want.
You could. I guess the roles switched, and now we're the podcast.
Only on Tuesdays.
Only on Tuesdays. Thank God it's not Tuesday.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say that. But second question is, you mentioned Jamie Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie is going to have a primary challenge. What do you think about that?
I'm torn. I think that everyone has the opportunity to run against whoever they want. Jamie did invite me down to, they had like a, what's his district, the 117th?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to screw that up, but if I screw it up, I really don't care.
Yes.
There's so many districts around here with 3-digit numbers that you can't keep track of.
119th is Rinkavage. Brenda Pugh's 120.
He's 117th.
Yeah, he's 117th.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So they have like the one thing that I went down to it because he asked me, he goes, if you could, I'd really appreciate you coming to the meeting tonight. And I said, okay. And I've never been to like a district meeting because up here we don't do them.
Yeah.
There is no district meetings.
Nope. It's one of the failures of Lackawanna.
So when I walked in the room and there was like 70, 80 people, I was like, what's this about? And then, so Jamie's running against this guy named Bill Jones.
Yep.
And, Jamie spoke and because they were going to have both candidates speak. And the good thing about I don't know who the guy that runs he's like the chair of the district or whatever, but he did his absolute best to keep it as apolitical as possible with people like losing their minds and casting aspersions and blah, blah, blah. But Bill Jones did say something that I found really interesting. He knew he was in an unfriendly room, so to speak, because it was like 90-10 Jamie supporters. And I believe he made a fatal error. And he said, when they asked me to run, and that immediately my spidey sense went up. And I was like, who's they? And that's a problem. That's a problem that he couldn't answer. Because if they had to ask you, it means that you didn't want to.
No.
Because if you really wanted to, why would you have to ask anybody?
Yeah, that's like us saying Turning Point asked us to start a Turning Point group. People.
No, you say they asked us to start a Turning. They asked us to start a chapter of Turning Point, and you're like, who is they?
Who's they? Yeah, no, it should definitely not be.
The guy could be a really nice guy. But the other thing about his bio is that his whole career is working for NGOs, and they're really not having a good rap lately because 39 trillion. 39
trillion. Yeah.
So. I mean, look, I'm Team Jamie. I'm also team like everybody gets to run, and if Jamie's done a good enough job, then the people should vote for him.
Yeah, I mean,
and if he represents them,
it'll hopefully reflect the work, right?
I think the work reflects it, but what do I know?
I think Jamie is one of the best candidates that we have up here in NEPA. Honestly, that's just my opinion, and I'm not
behind the scenes. A lot of Democrats talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about getting stuff done, but it's also about,
especially with the data center stuff.
He's very intelligent.
Jamie?
Yeah, he's articulate.
He's in history he'd be a protector. Yeah. In history he would be the guy who sees like somebody getting screwed and would stand in front of the bully. Yeah.
That says a lot to his character. So
not many people are willing to do that.
No, especially nowadays.
No,
we know it's not easy doing this. No, it's not easy getting up on stage and putting your face out there, your name out there, and people. It's a very hard, especially.
You guys are gonna get shit. You guys are gonna get shit. Oh, I'm sure you guys already get shit.
We already do.
We already do.
And then you just kind of have to like laugh at it.
Oh, we pull up one of the pictures that somebody posts is actually my picture for him and my camera roll. It's a great picture.
Great, hilarious.
So are you guys going to put on events and stuff, right?
Yeah. So we are doing a lot of.
Are you done with your questions?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Go ahead. So we're going to do a lot of events. We're planning to do our first kickoff event after the petition signing, after March,
next
basically.
Yeah,
probably in March or in April. But we want to make sure that it's.
You should do petition signing up at the school.
So,
or you're not allowed to.
We're not allowed to yet because there's no Turning Point shout. Yeah, but we will be.
Can you just do it with a table? Who gives a shit?
We can do it maybe off campus, but then we would have to get a permit for the sidewalk. So the city. It's a process.
It's a pain.
It's a pain. So instead, what we're doing is we're going to be joining at a lot of these already set up events where you're going to meet a lot of the candidates. We're going to help run. And then as we continue to figure it out, because we've never done this and we're just, we're learning as we go, but we're also trying to do things the right way. We're going to start doing events that are geared towards specifically Gen Z people, but that are for the betterment of the community, meaning voter registration drives, absentee ballots, mail-in ballots. That'll come. It's just very hard to immediately start with that because you have to do it right. And you've told me this privately, how the importance of doing something right. And
I think I told you don't eat yellow snow, but like you can keep.
No, you actually
didn't listen
did.
to that
You
one.
did tell me to eat the yellow snow.
I thought it was lemon.
that was really good. But yeah,
I think you guys are going to be. I think you guys being out there doing what you're doing gives the opportunity for the world to heal through conversation. You just can't. You just got to be careful about like hitting negative energy with negative energy.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
You have to stay positive. That's a big thing about us. Okay,
Absolutely. I mean, you can't show that you can't bring yourself down to their level. So when they're trying to make fun of you for looks or yell in your face or something, you have to remain calm. Something I tell a lot of people, especially our members in our group, is you want to try to, in some instances, when you feel that it's hard to remain calm, you want to employ the Socratic method. And you want to ask questions rather than trying to make your own statements. Ask them, question them why they believe that way. And a lot of the times, the person in opposition will trip up because some things are just not answers for logically. And I really think the Socratic method is the best method you could use because you're able to keep yourself so calm while also still getting the point across. Like your logic is messed up, and that's what Charlie.
Do they teach the Socratic method up at the U?
No, they don't.
Nope.
I don't think they. I mean,
Wouldn't it behoove them to do that?
I know. See, I had a wonderful philosophy professor who he loved Socrates, so we went into all this in depth, and it was a wonderful course. But from what I know, it's not usually typically something like the Socratic method that's looked at. It's not held up on the pedestal it should be because it really is a beautiful method and it really gets people to, even the person you're in opposition with, when you question them and then they try pick it apart, even though they might not agree to it, they're thinking in their mind, wait a second, why can't I answer this?
I had my experience over the last 5 years. Because people get really, if they don't think the same way that I do, they get really mad about it.
You do have a certain opinion that strikes a lot of people a certain way.
Yeah, but if you talk to me,
that's what we do.
You just have to go below the surface. But see that.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, this is the programming that I'm a firm believer in, like the Instagram reels and TikTok and all that stuff was intentionally made to make attention span less and less. And I feel like the purpose of that is that when you post something like, let's say you post an article, bashing Donald Trump, but it's an article that's not too bad. They'll take a headline that sounds catchy and controversial because people don't have the attention span anymore to look past that. And that's the same when they're judging people. It's holistic? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, holistic approach.
Yeah. So somebody might look at you and that's why they go immediately, what party are you? Conservative. Okay, well, I my attention span's done. I know you're conservative. That's all I need to know. And they won't look into the meat and bones of it.
I started like if I know, I've gotten pretty good at like the energy thing. I can like sense it.
Yeah.
And instead of going hard in the paint, it's like, I'll say like, you're probably going to disagree with me, but like, why do you think that?
You want to kill your enemy with kindness, so when they come back at you, it's
they have to like, look, we're trying to come to a place where like we can agree to disagree and not want to fucking kill each other. I don't think that that's a wrong thing to want.
It just made me think of so yesterday I was at the Americans for Prosperity Unbound America 250 event. It was a great event.
Wait, is that all that fit on a poster?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
indeed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Big poster.
They did AFP. So AFP, Libre, and CVA. But they had a great event down in Philadelphia yesterday where they had the Ruthless Variety Program. For those of you that don't know, it's a podcast. They were basically doing a live stream.
Who's Ruthless? Is that Andrew Schultz?
No. So Ruthless is Josh Holmes, Comfortably Smug, John Ashbrook, and Michael Duncan. They're all.
I probably know them to see them.
If you've ever watched the Will Kane show, they sometimes are on at the end of the show, like his 4 o'clock hour. Great show. Great.
Where's Will Kane?
Will Kane's on the 4 o'clock hour of Fox News.
Most people don't watch the fucking TV anymore.
But he's a podcast. He started out as a podcast. That's
I don't know who these. Okay, so keep going. Ruthless.
Anyway, so Ruthless, great, like one of my favorite podcasts. I've been listening to them for a long time. So they were playing a game while they were doing this called Dem or Journalists. So they give out four quotes, and you have to figure out which one of the four a Democrat, politician actually said. So one of the quotes is like, the Revolutionary War was only started because white people wanted to protect the institution of slavery, which automatically you would be like, what the fuck? That was a journalist. That was from the New Yorker. There was another one where it's like, when I think of America, make America great again, I thought, when was America ever great? And then there's a couple others. That one in particular was Eric Holder.
Oh,
yes.
He's selling guns to the cartels.
Yes, that Eric Holder, who said, when I think of Make America Great Again, I think, when was America ever great? And he wants to be in control of the voter rolls and all this. The point in saying all this is, you're going to have people that you come across that you can't agree with, but it's important to at least understand where they're coming from. And that's kind of the core of what we're trying to do. We're not going to always be successful. I'm sure I can't get Eric Holder to see my point of view, and I'm sure Eric Holder can't get me to see his. But if I can at least have a conversation with him, then that's the key. And that's, fortunately, when I was meeting with the Ruthless podcast and Guy Benson, who's another contributor and analyst, I was talking about this problem of, conversation as a turning point. We were there under the Turning Point name. And they were just shocked by the fact that I truly believe that college campuses are gone, that the conversation is over, and we're just having a conversation ourselves about it. And while we agree, it's very simple to say, okay, if we can have a conversation about that, why can't me and, let's just say, Carson disagree on something? Why can't we have a conversation, try to at least see why this person thinks this way? And that's the whole point of, like, we don't have that opportunity. A lot of times people have it so they can share their opinion, but we didn't have that. So why are we creating this? We're doing it because of that. And really why is, when you look at it and you think about what the history books will teach, that quote from Eric Holder, going back to it, has probably been talked about more times than people would read that quote and say, wow, that's disgusting. Like, there are definitely groups of individuals that read that headline and agree with that sentence. And that's a problem. We have to have a conversation about that. We can't just let journalists write, the only reason we had a Revolutionary War was to protect the institution of slavery. Like,
no,
that is not factually correct.
It was taxation without representation.
Right.
Yep.
And that was a reporter for the New Yorker. But that's my point. If we can't have these conversations, people are going to continue to say things like that, and that will become factual down the line in history. And we will lose out on true history, and we'll instead be in 1984, where we're told, not shown, what happened.
So you guys have convinced me that I need to get a larger hard drive to record this, because we filled up on the video side. So the last few minutes is going to have to be a still frame of Kim Jong-un.
Awesome.
Can I get final thoughts?
Yeah.
You want to go?
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
Like what can what can they look forward to for what you guys are trying to do?
Sure. I think that things that citizens could look forward to is the fact that we're out here trying to really press Turning Point, get as many chapters as possible onto as many chapters. Maybe soon we'll see some high school chapters, and that'll make it so anywhere we could get a Turning Point allows for at least the hope that there could be civil dialogue again, which is absolutely beautiful. And that's really what we strive to do. But also on top of that, I think that people could look forward to the fact that there is such an upswing now in faith and religion coming in this generation. There's actually an uptick in that. Bible sales are up higher than they have been. And so I think people could relax and look back and say, hey, this generation, although they are going to have some troubles, and although we're kind of in a bad place now, I think a lot of them have their heads screwed on right. And faith isn't dead as much as people would like to pretend like it is. And it's actually growing now. And I think that this generation is really starting to pick up on it. And we potentially have the opportunity for greatness again, like true greatness. And it just boils down to, again, the religious aspect of it and the social aspect of it.
Yeah. I love
Does
that
your
answer.
windswept hair want to respond to that? You look like fucking Lion-O.
Ooh,
Do you know what Lion-O is?
no.
You never watched Thundercats?
No.
Oh, man. You guys
No.
didn't grow up in the 80s with good cartoons.
No, but I did grow up with 80s music, but
That's not Thundercats.
that's
I
not
had
Thundercats.
SpongeBob.
But I'll leave with a couple closing thoughts. First off, thank you for having us on
You're
the
welcome.
podcast. I appreciate
Thanks for demanding
that.
it.
No, you're very welcome. I did demand it. For those that are wondering, I did. The camera's not even on.
I'm happy you winked at it, though. I hope you do that on phone calls.
I do. I'm talking about
Most useless wink.
Just
right?
winking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
what are you
But,
doing, psycho?
Looks in the mirror when
just
he
from
does that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just for myself. But serious closing thoughts. The importance of our group is not me or Carson or any of the individuals. It's the importance of having the conversation. So for us to be able to just get the ball rolling is a fantastic start, but we're going to be doing a lot more because we truly believe that this is the most important thing that we could be doing. Our future depends on people like us picking up the torch and talking in the community with not just local leaders and community members, but with everybody. And that means people that we disagree with on everything and people we agree with on everything, and the entire spectrum. And when we boil it down, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a lot of things. And the thing I'm the most grateful for is that we are able to have a great difference in opinion, but still have shared ideologies, and that we believe in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and that we all want an economic opportunity that allows us to go out and make our own version of the American dream. And when you boil it down to those three principles and you say we can connect on those three, it becomes a lot easier to have conversation about many of the other minute or nuances that comes in politics. So I hope that people remember not to be afraid, because that's what they want. They want you to be scared to speak out against the establishment about the status quo. We're a group for you to do that, for you to go out and say, hey, you know what? I feel like interacting with people and testing my limits, testing my learning capabilities. And when you put all those things together, we're truly trying to not just help people, but really help the community by having them more engaged. And when it comes down to college campuses, well, we just hope that college campuses give us a chance. That's frankly what it boils down to. I hate to go sounding like
Do you think
Trump.
they're going to deny you?
Oh, 100%. I
yeah.
don't think that there's...
You don't think the U's going to give you a
I don't
chapter?
think there's a snowball's chance.
And
in
what
hell.
was it? 2018, they denied it, and there was almost a lawsuit over it.
Yep, they're going to deny it
They got
again.
to-
It's
they denied it
the
in
student body
2018.
government is unfortunately not going to approve it. I would be so surprised. I would be very happy, and I would eat my words gleefully. But I do not think it's going to happen. I think that's going to be a fight. And unfortunately, I don't think that's a fight that I'll be able to see through, because I'll be graduating in less than 4 months. So I'm not going to be able to see that through. But
Man, that sucks.
oh no, it doesn't. I'm good to be done. I'm ready to be done.
Yeah,
with
but it
school.
sucks that they're not going to. They don't have enough.
They don't want to have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
They don't want to have anybody
He wants to speak
else,
more than you.
anybody else share an opinion. They just want their own opinions to be
The
heard.
echo chamber.
This is not. It's not that it's completely unfair. It's that it's imbalanced. They have purposely.
That
in
is
my
unfair.
opinion, well, I'm just saying, you can't just say, oh, it's unfair. I'm saying you have to look at it at the root cause, and that it's a purposeful imbalance that these members of staff and faculty at the colleges not just preach, but they instill in the organizational structure so that only groups that they like can get past. I don't know how true it is, and I've been waiting to say it all podcast. Is it true that our university took out the Christian fellowship group? Because I heard,
That's what I've heard.
yeah,
That's what
I
I've heard.
can't confirm that yet, so I don't want to say lies to the viewer, but think about
They got
that.
rid of the Christian fellowship.
Yep,
Hmm?
at a Jesuit university, but they have the Muslim group, the Muslim club.
They're the Jewish club.
I'm sure.
We had another school that we were trying to get a chapter, and we applied for the chapter the same day the Muslim club applied, and they denied us and accepted them in 2 days.
That's fucked.
Yeah, this is real. Like I wouldn't believe that if someone told me that, but I lived it. I watched it. It happened. Like it
No,
happened.
it's true. It's true.
Like, but that's what I'm saying. It's blatantly obvious. Like, how do people fall for that? Like, that's just blatantly obvious.
I wish we knew.
Let's give it a couple months, and we'll come back here and see if college got better.
Oh yeah, we'll have to be back before May.
I hope it
Before
does.
the midterms,
before
the primaries,
before the end of the primaries. Yeah.
Rob, Carson, Turning Point Action, right? NEPA, Gen Z.
NEPA, Turning Point Action, Gen Z. You can find us on our website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube probably doesn't have anything up, but we have all those. Website is the best so that you can sign up to become a member. The website is NEPA, TPAGenZ.org.
Okay.
It's not
NEPA, TPAGenZ.org.
Yeah, it's pretty short, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Did you have fun?
Oh, we did. Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It was wonderful.
Appreciate it.